Shout out to USARK and all USARK members. If you don't know what USARK is, don't be ashamed. Just go ahead and click the third link in the description below. See what USARK is all about, okay? You never know when legislations are going to hit your backyard, so that's why it's very important to consider becoming a USARK member today. These numbers really do matter, and they look at it for consideration when it comes to battling legislation. So first and foremost, thank you, Phil Goss. Thank you to anybody out there who partners up and volunteers with USARK organization. Thank you for anyone out there who's a USARK member. And if you can't become a USARK member today, please talk about it on your platforms. Let your neighbors know, let all your pet stores know what USARK is here for, and it's here to fight for our animal rights. Thank you to every USARK member and USARK supporter out there.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world. Episode 643, Winston Smith. Finally got him. That's right. Winston Smith, WHS Reptiles in the building tonight. Very stoked for wanting this one for quite a while now, I would say. But I'm your host, MJ, man. Shout out to everyone in the building. But yeah, I'm your boy, MJ. If it's your first time hanging out, tapping in. If you're into the ball python game or reptile industry, whatever, man, just do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. Let's get the likes up for the homie Winston. And yeah, smash that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, select all. By doing all those things, you'll be reminded of every podcast release out of the Trap Talk Reptile Network. 7 days a week, dude. Damn, going strong. I'm just a little moment of silence for the 7 days a week. Going strong. You feel me? Monday through Sunday, guys. New episode every day of the week right here out of the Trap Talk Reptile Network, the only reptile network doing this. Okay, mind you can listen to every single episode on all major audio platforms. Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, all the major ones, man. So wherever you listen to any of these episodes, thank you so much first and foremost. I appreciate any kind of support. Just watching this means a lot. So thank you so much. I've been getting a lot of ongoing support. The growth has been real over the last few years, and it's continuing to grow. So thank you so much. Now, if you want to support what I got going on a little bit further, okay, if you want to get more behind the scenes, if you want to get like that VIP access to like exclusive content with MorphMarket and what I got going on, and if you want to, and I guess you guys will be the first to know, I will be doing some sort of wait list for chondros that I have incubating in the incubator. Yeah, that's right. The rumors are true. I got 70 chondro eggs baking right now, all right? And all my Patreon members get first dibs. My Patreon members don't even know I'm about to be starting a list. So now you know. So if you want to be a part of all that, great, amazing stuff with the Trap, then come join the Trap Talk Patreon family. You can do that by clicking the very first link in the description below. As soon as you join the Trap Talk Patreon family, you connect to a Discord and you tap into an amazing Instagram group chat. We got trappers from all over the world. So thank you so much. First and foremost, all my trappers, man. Trap Fest is going to be one for the books. The RSVP list is no joke. Heavier than ever. Got to say that much. So looking forward to it. And again, thank you to all my trappers. You guys are my heart, man. Shout out to people who are here in the building, man. If you listen, the chats love the energy already. Love the people in the chats. I see a lot of V Unit members in the building. What's up, Bosa Reptiles and Eric's Morph Factory? I appreciate you guys. Of course, I got my trappers, my homie from Sweden, Marcus, Lucid Arboreals in the building. I got my homegirl Amanda in the building. What's up, Amanda? So appreciate all the love and support. Oh, my boy Shane, waiting on a boa constrictor clutch. A boa that I actually sent him, who actually laid a litter for me in 2020. So anyways, rooting for you, Shane. All right, I hope you have a very big, healthy litter. And yeah, I think she's going to be in the 20s. So day by day. But listen, appreciate all the love and support. If you think that tonight's episode is worthy of any live super chats, okay, if you guys want to be generous and drop a super chat, then drop that super chat, especially if you have a question or a topic, because I got to tell you right now, Winston's definitely one of the nicest, one of the sweetest guys I've got to meet in the hobby, but holy shit, is this guy funny and knowledgeable. Like, this guy knows it. He basically was born to do this, okay? So we are going to learn from one of the best, in my opinion, for sure. Definitely one of the coolest fellow, like, house head like myself. And, you know, we vibe on so many different levels. You know what I mean? So you guys are definitely in for a treat. So thank you to everyone in the chat tonight. You guys are lovely. And then also want to get to tonight's sponsors, okay? Very blessed for tonight's sponsors. One of them being obviously me and Winston's good friend. So shout out to Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. Please head over to MorphMarket and type in Mark Bailey Reptiles. Follow this man's work. His production is second to none. My favorite ball python breeder in the game for sure. He's the GOAT in my opinion. He's helped out so many other successful ball python breeders in this game. It's not even funny, and that's proven. Okay, so anyways, Mark Bailey Reptiles. That's my dog. Our dog. So make sure you go give him a follow on MorphMarket, because that's the only place you can follow this guy. He doesn't do anything else. MorphMarket. That's it. And anytime I shout him out on here. So thank you so much, Mark Bailey Reptiles. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Sundown Reptiles. If you are looking to get into the tree monitor game, Kahua, or really awesome rare species of Abronia, and also gargoyle geckos. I mean, I could keep going, but man, check out Sundown Reptiles. Go to Instagram, type in Sundown Reptiles, follow this man's work. You can also check out all of Brian's productions on his website as well, sundownreptiles.com. Find the links in the description below. So thank you so much, Brian, for your support. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by the Reptile Super Show. That's right. Okay, as a lot of you guys know who have been to Trap Fest, you know I throw Trap Fest the week of the Reptile Super Show. So yes, it's going down that week. It's going to be June 28th and 29th. I'm going to be rolling deep that weekend. It's going to be a good time. Won't be vending. I know a lot of you guys are asking if I'm going to be vending. I won't be vending. I only plan on vending in January now. So just a little PSA on that. But Reptile Super Show. Shout out to Rami. Shout out to the entire Reptile Super Show team. The best show in the country. The biggest show in the country. Always jam-packed. Highly recommend you come to Reptile Super Show. My boy Emilio has come all the way from Florida, okay, traveled across the country and has vended this show, and he's going to be doing that every year now, okay? That's how much this show rocks. So thank you so much, Rami, over at the Reptile Super Show. Check him out on Instagram, and also find the link in the description below. Last but not least, shout out to Mark Hager over at Texas Chondros. If you want to really learn and see who's some of the best in the chondro game currently, I mean, I would say at least for the last handful of years, this is your guy right here, Mark Hager over at Texas Chondros. Type in TX Chondros on Instagram. Go give this man a follow right now. Check out all his amazing work. Yellow neonates, red neonates, designers, beautiful. Really has honed down on the Calico project. So check out his work. Mark Hager's been on this show many times, and so it's just an honor to have him be a sponsor of the network. So thank you so much, Mark Hager from Texas Chondros. Again, you can find all the links to all my sponsors in the description below. So go check them out. And again, guys, I'm really excited for tonight's episode. I don't want to waste any more time because I finally got my man Winston. Okay, Winston's coming on the show, and it's about that time. All right, dude, let's get the energy up in the chats. Let's get the lights up first and foremost, because do what you got to do to get your mind right. Do what you got to do to get hydrated for episode 643. Winston Smith, WHS Reptiles, coming at you right now. Let's go. Chee.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, God, love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
And we're live, episode 643. Winston, you're a man of your word, bro.
Yep, I'm here.
But okay, am I overreacting, or have I been trying to get you on the show for a long time?
For a really long time. It feels like 2 years, I want to say.
And of course, I love my man Mark Bailey. That's our friend, right? We can both sit here and say how much we love Mark, right?
Yeah, he's a great person. I mean, he's one of many wonderful people in this hobby. And I mean, you can't replace the knowledge that guy has. I mean, it's hard-earned knowledge, dude. Like 30 years breeding rodents and, ball pythons at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm close enough friends with him where he kind of treats me like a little brother. Like he gives me like straight advice. Like he like the thing is, like if you're that cool with Mark, he's gonna tell you straight how he feels. He almost doesn't have a filter. Like he's just gonna tell you how exactly what you need to change or whatever. But by doing that, it has changed everything for me. Like he has helped me grow so much in this hobby. It's ridiculous.
Well, he's also not one of those guys that if he tells you 10 things and you take 4 or 5 or 6 of them and not all of them, he's not one of those guys that's like, what's wrong with you? I told you should have been doing this. He's just a friendly, he gives you straight advice, but it's friendly advice.
Yeah. And so what I'm going with that is he's the one that told me how much I should like tap in with you. Like he's like, Winston, he obviously he knows I've had Brock on. I don't remember hearing your name that much on the very first Brock episode, but obviously as I got to know Brock, I got to find out who you were, you know what I mean? And then Mark, Mark Bailey doesn't really tell me a lot to tell me to bring people on, but what he does, I usually don't have an issue doing it. And I had a little issue with you. And so I was kind of like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And so mind you, it was kind of like I'm not really challenging, but you know me, I just was always inviting you on because I want to let you
100%.
Want to let you know how much I respected your work and really like the relationship building I see that you've done throughout the years. Because if we could kind of take it, how long you've been doing this for, Winston? I heard stories about you being 14 years old on Eugene's property, and
more like 17, but yes. Yeah. I've been doing this since within 6 months of me moving out of my parents' house. One of the first things I did was buy a pet reptile because I could never have one as a kid. And my mom was always going to the pet store down here because she had an aquarium. And I was fascinated, not just with the reptiles, but, the birds, the small mammals. I wanted any of them. And that really wasn't my mom and dad's style. So about within 6 months of moving out, it clicked and I was like, I could get a snake or a lizard or a guinea pig or a ferret or whatever the hell I want. And I get in there and I picked up a ball python. She was with me until just last year. And she just passed away. But she was probably an import baby. Lucky she was a female. But I picked her up, and I mean, within a few months, I was finding out about reptile shows. I was buying every little reptile book that Petland had. And then
you're in Florida, right? Like you're in Gainesville, or where are you at? What area?
No, I'm Central Florida.
Good.
But Ben Cole and like Eugene Bissett were some of the first people that I kind of knew of in this business. So I would just haul ass to Gainesville which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on traffic. I would haul ass up there all the time just to get a chance to see more snakes and then have them introduce me to other people so I could see more reptile collections,
Yeah. But it was like, you just said it, the other people, like meeting other people, or like the footprints that you leave as far as like growth in this hobby, you know what I mean? Because you could also say, like, if it wasn't for the relationships you built in this hobby, Winston, you probably wouldn't be where you're at right now for sure.
Absolutely not. As the market I've been, early on, I still remember the old Reptile radio. That was like the first podcast in this. I am very analog guy. I was very slow to adapt to technology to my own detriment over the years. But as soon as I was on the Bush League Breeders Club website, they started talking about doing a reptile radio podcast. I'm over there figuring out RSS feeds, burning them to CDs so I could listen to them in my car.
Wow.
Yeah. Been doing this. It feels weird because it doesn't feel like I've been doing it that long, but you stop and you look back and you're like, holy crap. And over the last 10 years, I had kids. I started another business that we're kind of winding down now that went strong for about 11 years.
Yeah.
And to what you said about if it was not for the relationships that I built and continued to build in this business, I mean, I might have some pet snakes or a rack or two, but I wouldn't have been able to have any kind of meaningful, sustainable ball python production, or any production for that matter.
Yeah. And, I don't know. This is also proof that, one thing I noticed meeting younger people in the hobby, like Stephen Cush, like, you know who Stephen Cush is by chance?
Yeah.
Okay. So meeting him when he was 17, I was like, what the fuck? You're 17? Like, he was just like kind of way advanced because he was all about reptiles since middle school. Like, it was like, that was his thing. That was his thing. You know what I mean? So I realized that like when people were like at that level, even at a young age, it kind of like matures them up like pretty quickly. You know what I mean? Either it does or it doesn't. But I noticed that the ones that it does, it's like, holy shit. But also too, like, there's not much room to really fuck up, I feel like, in this hobby. Like, yeah, of course, plenty of people have stories of doing this, and that, but like keeping a clean name since a young age is like impressive. You know what I mean? Because you also are always tempted. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of money in this game, as you know. Like, there's a shit ton of money. Yeah. And so, like, you see people's true characters sometimes in this hobby, which is unfortunate. But not everyone's like that, obviously. You know what I mean? So
no, and we've seen a lot of them over the years. When you stop and really think about it and come back through it, we've seen quite a few of them. What was that really red ball that what they call it? Just the red ball?
Yeah, the guy from Europe or something, right?
Yeah. Or the renaming a spider and saying it doesn't wobble. There's a lot of that out there. And we've seen quite a bit of it. But yeah, I feel like if you can forge relationships, we all make mistakes along the way, right? I mean, we do. And if you're not purposely out there to screw somebody, and I think that's the biggest difference. Doing something with malicious intent, or starting starting a project that doesn't end up well, right? Like maybe you were early on in the desert gene, you weren't intentionally screwing any of your customers. The biggest thing is just being able to move past that and take care of your customers to the extent you can. And most people, I think, as long as they have good intention and they don't mean to make mistakes here and there, and they own up to it, they can maintain a great reputation in this business.
And I love that train of thought that you have. But I'm like, man, I'm trying to work on this. But my toxic trait is like, okay, I know there was multiple motherfuckers who had racks of this desert fucking gene, and we're kind of ahead of the curve.
Now that's different. Different.
And they knew, like, holy shit, this ain't gonna work, and then started fucking.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, like you said, different era first and foremost, right? Like, this type of shit like this, like, you can't, like, you got to be pretty brazy to do shit like this nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
I would agree with that. The accountability that, like, the internet and social media and this new hyper connected reptile industry that we're in now really helps prevent a lot more of that. I would say. Yeah,
and MorphMarket. Shout out to MorphMarket for, like, any kind of animal neglect, or like, selling false fucking United States captive born and bred, or using other people's photos, like
that. I will tell you that whole thing early on in my reptile journey, just kind of getting an up close and personal look at, like, the import game, and I formed a lot of strong opinions on that early on, and especially the amount of people that would be down at the docks picking out animals from troughs. And then you'd see them at some Repticon, USCB, US captive bred and born. And it pains you to see that. That is one of my favorite things, actually, that MorphMarket has done is address a little bit of that, because that's been a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, for years and years and years. Not that all imports are bad. We need fresh bloodlines, but we don't need 100,000 iguana or chameleons, let's say, a year. We could probably get by with 1,000, 5,000.
Yeah, because we all know that all leads to dead animals, is what it leads to at some point.
It also leads to crippling. It leads to crippling what could be a thriving captive bred and born market. And as much as everybody likes to talk about, well, it's not just about the money. At the end of the day, you have to have a financial incentive to stoke the fires of like a thriving captive bred and born market.
So you're definitely already at that point in your career where you're taking on some mentorship, and you've been helping a lot of people, from what I've heard. You're just a helpful guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
so I got a question for you. Like, is this not a smart move, or could you be okay if you're new into this hobby and for whatever reason you already get kicked off a morph market? Like that's not a good thing, you would say, right? Like,
no,
especially being new. Like, I get it. There's other things you could sell on, but hold on. If you're new, how the fuck are you going to do this without morph market? I don't get it.
I could not agree more. I could not agree more. I mean, sure, you'll find some back channel avenues, I'm sure, but you'll be looking at pennies on the dollar and you're gonna get sick of that real quick. And if you can't participate in the main market, I mean, what are you even doing here? Most of the time, like,
oh my God, well, that was powerful. Very nice. Said it in a nice way. I'm just saying, like, but really, it's like think about it. This is how we grow. I think Kabelka said something. I can't remember the exact thing he said, but just like the leading force of the growth in this hobby is morph market. Like, most visited website in the reptile game, constantly on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? And Bob Vu said it. Like, multiple people said how much morph markets changed their lives. You know what I mean?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, John started a great thing, and I feel like Darian took it to the next level. And there was some pain along the way. I get it. And I think whenever you are trying to change things, you're learning as you go. Both us as the breeders and Darian when he took over. Not everything's perfect, but is there a lot more good than bad? Yeah. I'm going to have to absolutely say yes.
Yeah, and then before we change the morph market topic, I just obviously Darian made adjustments that he needed to make, and I don't mean by not only the website but himself. Like, he knew, all right, I don't want to be this guy, and I don't want to fucking keep going. So he himself even changed. You know what I mean? And I've seen growth in this guy, and he's not going through an easy time right now. Like, let's be real, morph market's the number one in the shipping game right now because of how much it's saving people. Everyone is using morph market right now, but that is trying to be stopped. And so he's, you know what I mean? He's in a fucking place right now, but he's doing great, and he's overcoming it. So,
well, whenever you're trying to take on a leadership role in an industry, and you just popped in and said, "Hey, I'm here and I'm here to lead, and here's what I'm going to try to do," it's never going to be easy or come out great, and you're going to have to fight through these battles. I mean, from what I've seen out of him, I mean, I've got good faith that he will prevail in his own avenues, and where things kind of shake out, or even out along the way, I think we'll be fine. However the shipping market shares in this industry equal out, I think there's enough for everybody. But the bottom line is that streamline aspect of the morph market shipping is, like, to me, I think even more valuable than the cost saving aspect.
So you do a lot of shipping, obviously, right, Winston? I would say, like, more than the average person, obviously. Let's just say, for whatever reason, morph market can never use FedEx for whatever reason, right? And there's UPS, and you're noticing UPS is a lot less than using FedEx as far as the discount, right? Then you notice that UPS has a shit more ton hub stations than FedEx. Would you be tempted to try UPS at all, or do you feel like that's too much? I will say that's a thought I've had going on in my mind. I'm shipping less right now because I would say both between Brock and I, we're down to the nitty gritty of just barely anything left over from 2024. But as just the last few months, I've been looking at that UPS option, and again, I'll be the first to admit I'm slow to change, and back in the day, UPS was definitely subpar compared to FedEx. I know all my FedEx reps. I know my hubs. I know my airport hub. I know the system well. But at the end of the day, if you're just looking at market trends, from what I understand, since UPS did some restructuring in the last few years, they are starting to become more reliable and faster than FedEx as well, at least from what I understand. And I mean, you gotta understand, as this hobby has grown tremendously in the last 8 years, you would say, like as soon as social media started fucking cracking off, and then when COVID happened, it was like, oh shit. And so I noticed FedEx employees actually are more in tune of the whole animal shipment thing. And as much as people have talked shit about FedEx employees, actually I have before, I gotta be honest, but
we all have,
I mean, who likes delays, right? But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, my hub station employees that I go and check out, they're always happy whenever I get an animal in. They call me and let me know, hey, it's here, before it even updates. And I like, so I get why like some people would be like, fuck, I don't want to use UPS if I have it like this, but I don't know, you know.
There are a lot of us that get stuck in our ways. I sit back and more I'm consuming more content about stuff like Clutch or Husbandry Pro or
Yeah.
those sort of things. I'm over here with my stickers and my tape and my clips and my handwritten, dude, underneath my desk, I mean, stacks and stacks of these Clutch cards that I have filed in this little file system going all the way back to 2007 or 8 under the desk. Just in case I have to go back and cross-reference, if I get something weird out of a Clutch. And I've been watching and consuming, and I'm just waiting for when am I going to evolve to my next stage, part of that is stuff like even switching to UPS. Maybe if they can save you money and you get more reliable service, I mean, at a certain point, you gotta be able to move with trends.
Yeah, and obviously we know people are willing. Not everyone, maybe at first, but there are people who are willing and want to try it out, and we're gonna know. Like, we're gonna hear feedback. Will people?
Yeah,
pop,
I was
obviously.
this close on my last shipment. This close to selecting the UPS, and I was like, how much is $8 really? I'm sticking with the hub. I know right where it is.
I will say though, like and I don't recommend this. This is like, I blame Ryan Young, but when my first Daytona I went to, which was last year, I bought an import from Underground Reptiles. It made it through quarantine. It's fine. It tested. Thank God. It's took a weird shit the other day, but it's here and it's great. But anyways, like they didn't fucking tell me they were shipping UPS, and so like when I didn't even think I'm looking at an email and I didn't even really think to look at the tracking number because the tracking number has a unique they're different. Like UPS,
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I think I would do the exact same thing because I've never received a UPS reptile package ever.
They just told me your package is going to be there Tuesday at the hub station, or arriving Tuesday. So I'm like, all right. And so 9 a.m. came, and I went straight to the hub station. I'm like just waiting at the FedEx hub station, and I pull up the tracking number, and I'm like 1Z. I'm like, that's a fucking that's a UPS tracking number. And the FedEx guy's like, yeah, dude, we don't have anything for you. And I'm like, fuck. And so,
and especially your nerves are already up because you're like, all right, come on. How is the shape of this animal going to be? Especially being an import, you're anxious to get your eyes on it. How did it do in shipping? All of that shit.
And it was signature required. So I was like, God damn it. And so but luckily I definitely would give the heads up, because I think UPS doesn't leave. Like I've had snakes be left at my front door before, even though I'd rather do hub station. I've had them shipped to my house and they just leave them. UPS, it's signature required.
So this is back to getting used to and being in a groove with a system, right? Like FedEx. We know our FedEx drivers and they know us to the extent that, I mean, when I get boxes shipped to my house, they know to put them in this little shady spot, at the house, and they prioritize my delivery over others because we've built a rapport. We alternate between 3 different drivers. We know all of them. My wife knows their first name, and they go out of their way to kind of try to take care of us, even when they're running behind.
I mean, I would do that. I could have done that at my old place, but here it's like a new Mexican every time. I don't fucking. Fuck, dude, Jorge, cool, man. Like Pablo was sick, and then they just always somebody new, and so I don't really have. But also, I don't, like I said, I don't ever ship to the house anymore. I rather just do it at the hub station. It's just easy because mind you, my hub station's 12 minutes away, so no big deal for me just to go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep. I'm lucky as well. Mine's pretty close. So, so before we get off track, you mentioned, picking up an import, and it just reminded me, I wanted to congratulate you on your first litter of emerald tree boas. That's something I've never done. I'm not going to pretend like I attempted, but dude, I mean, I've always, I dreamed of that, of being able to come in and see a healthy, viable litter of emerald tree boas, dude. So big congratulations.
Yeah, I got, listen, I got a lot of big things happening to me this year, but I think that was the biggest. I can't listen. I have stuff that haven't came out of the egg yet, but for me, that was a personal accomplishment. It meant a lot because Forrest Fanning, who's no longer with us, he's the one that really put me on to emeralds and started that passion. And I was able to inquire his favorite emeralds that came into my collection.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so came into my collection, got the girl to breed, and she died full of babies. And that was two. Not this year, but I was last year. So I was coming off a fucked up, PTSD, man, I don't know what's gonna happen, and almost kind of down on my luck. But no, dude, I fucking pulled it off again, and it was great.
Well,
It was
just from years of breeding Amazon tree boas and just the frustrations, and they're nowhere near as hard as emeralds, but the frustrations of
yeah,
3 healthy babies and 5 not, or a whole healthy litter, but they're a nightmare to get feeding, or a gravid female rolls on you out of nowhere, or someone sells you an import that they swore up and down was captive born and bred. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I,
for
it,
sure.
it gives me a lot of respect for the Emerald game because that's just like 10 notches above that.
Yeah, and even when shit was hitting the fan back with the one that rolled, so many guys just told me like, dude, like it's happened to me. You know what I mean? And so the ones who stuck around wasn't easy for those people, man. But it's like, there are times where it makes it all worth it. And I got 6 beautiful babies that I love looking at, and it's
Yeah.
fucking. It was that like that battery charge that I needed, because I'm telling you, like I'm pretty attached to these animals. I'm not gonna say I'm more attached than everyone else, but like the average person, dude, like these are really fucking important to me. You know what I mean? So
I do.
When I lose something due to breeding because it was my decision, I don't want that. Like I'd rather take a fucking slugged out litter or a bad clutch than lose my female. I don't want to lose the female. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I mean, honestly, even as reptile people, we might even fool ourselves sometimes. Like, yeah, I mean, how attached am I? I've got 1,000 of these, and I'm attached to the species and the project and the game of it all.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, like that first ball python I had rolled, and it did like, it wasn't like losing my dog for the first time, but man, I weirdly just got real quiet about it. I didn't mention it to anybody. And over the course of a year, a few different people were like, "Hey, where's Chloe? What happened there?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, she passed." And like over the course of a year, I really realized, like, man, that really bothered me. I really thought I'd have her. Like, Gene had some females last I checked that were 38 years old, and I checked in a few years ago. A few of them were still laying viable clutches of eggs. He held on to them just to see how long they'd go. And
wow.
so I was thought I'd have her for 38 or 40 years. And yeah, I was just surprised at
Hey,
how attached you can get.
how old was she?
I had her for 20 years, 2004 to 2024.
That's a good time, man. I think like, okay, like, yeah, 30 something years is amazing, but like we have humans that go in the hundreds, then we have
Yeah.
humans that die at 70. So, and
Yeah.
like, and I think even if you die at like close to 80, that's a good age, dude. Like that's a good amount of time on Earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or even when you're purging your collection, like I did a pretty good
Yeah.
purge in 2023,
Yeah.
and I was surprised. I got rid of about around 150, 165 adult females, and some of them, I was looking at their clutch cards, and like as I'm bagging them up with a good friend of mine down here, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this and
Yeah.
this and this, and
that hits.
yeah, when 2023 hit, it definitely was. It was a positive thing for me to address a little bit of the hoarder mentality,
Yeah.
and start streamlining the raise up to long-term breeder process and getting better about going through that every 6, 8, and 12 months.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, man. I recently I ended up selling about 12 adult females. Nothing compared to you, but like I had 12 adult females that like I held on for a while. And I don't know if it was just sentimental, but I had them for a while and I just had them there. But then I'm trying to get to the point where I don't want any overhead that's not necessary. Like if it's really not going to be something I don't want to breed, like I don't want it. And unfortunately, and so as I was like going down and like seeing which ones I was, going to sell to this dude, I came down to my original girl. The very first one I got in 2015 on Craigslist. Her name's Mercedes, Orange Ghost Mojave Pastel. And I was like, I don't think I'm ever getting rid of you. I was like, I was looking at her. I was like, dude, I was like, you're even beautiful today. Like, even though you're just an Orange Ghost Mojave Pastel, like,
yeah,
you're fucking gorgeous and you're huge. And like, honestly, I don't think I could have it in me to, like, if a ball python dies, I'm not going to cry. Like, I'm good. Like, it's like this stuff really affects me. Ball python's not as much, but then that snake right there takes me back so like to the OG days where I'm like, I rather you just, send off with me than anyone else. So
yeah, nope. I know exactly what you mean. But yeah, I do think that the shift out of the COVID economy helped a lot of people get a little bit better. And it's okay to keep some things out of attachment, but you can't keep everything, obviously, especially if you want to keep progressing and growing, your projects and what you're doing. And I think for a lot of us, the animals are incredible. We wouldn't be in here if we didn't like reptiles. But the fun of basically the game, of creating new things, moving it forward, and even surprising yourself, at the things you can make if you really focus for a couple of years.
So you graduated high school what year?
2002. I was supposed to graduate 2003. I graduated early 2002.
You're older than me? What?
Yeah, I just
Damn.
turned 40 recently.
I'm 2000. I graduated 03. I mean, you're not that much older than me, like barely a year probably, but like, wow, I didn't know. I thought you were at least, I thought you were younger than me for sure.
Young at heart, man.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So 2002, man, I want to know, like, I mean, did you graduate high school already knowing, like, I'm going to fucking breed fucking ball pythons or breed reptiles? Like, that was my.
No, the only guy I know like that is Jason freaking Kittinger. He told me he did a school project at some point about how when he grows up, he would like to be a professional reptile breeder. And I never look, so I get in 2003, I bought my first ball python. Or no, I bought her in 2004. It was like January. And I ended up at the what is that? The 2004, National Reptile Breeders Expo, my first one, Hurricane Charlie. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I went there and I picked up like some bearded dragons and some leopard geckos. And to me, I was just like, the idea that I could even breed them, have eggs, and successfully hatch eggs. And I didn't even know what I was going to do with babies. I just wanted to experience that. That to me was like otherworldly. And all right, now, oh yeah, I lost where I was going with that for a second. So from there, I eventually like make it to some Repticons. And like I said, I end up being able to go up to Eugene Bassett's place when I was probably, so I guess 19, maybe 18, 19. So I guess 17 was probably undershooting it. So 18, 19, I'm going up to Eugene Bassett's place. And that's when I realized, oh, you could be a reptile breeder.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a hobby. You're dedicated to this every day. You're refining systems. If you're lucky, you're employing people. You're really creating something, and you're laying down the bedrock foundation of basically everybody and every little kid that ever wants to get into reptiles or have a cool small pet or hobby,
So what did you do like to start funding everything that you started building? Like, did you start working with Eugene, or like what like how were you getting your money?
No, I would just, I mean, at one point I was working 3 jobs. I was working at Walmart, and then there was a PetSmart right next door to that Walmart. And then I eventually got a part-time job at this little pet store called Pet Republic that I like twisted their arm to get in. And that I burned out after about a year straight of that. But I was just grinding those jobs and figuring out, through that, meeting new contacts, right? Like, because somebody's got to supply this reptile store. PetSmart turned out to be useless. I quit that pretty quick. So I could do more with like the smaller pet store. And from there, you're meeting, who do they buy from? And like, what is this reptile industries hard thing? And it says there in Florida. And, you start realizing, oh, I could get these, albino motley corns for a quarter of the price. So, I basically was funding it by finding the better priced animals instead of trying to buy them, at stores or, trying to get somebody to send me a price list. I was figuring out if you make some good connections, you could get a lot better deal.
The pet shops, man. I definitely, I think Eugene, obviously, the pet shops, those are like how you really kind of started having experiences that open your eyes, like, holy shit. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, like, man, I like pet shop people, at least, and I'm not talking Petco, or I'm talking like the family-owned pet shops that I have gone to. The employees, not that they're mean, but they're very short with you. They're not gonna tell you, hey, do you know there's a whole reptile industry out there? Like,
yeah.
They don't tell you that shit. You're just there to buy stuff.
Most of the time they don't care, which is unfortunate. That's kind of the dilemma with employees. Every now and again, you'll find an amazing business where their employees really do care and are going above and beyond, have that ownership mentality. But yeah, for the most part, not only do they not really care, but even if you were talking to the owner, it's not in his best interest to tell you, you can just get on MorphMarket and get way better selection, way better quality animals at a way better price.
Well, and it's hard to explain what this really is. Like, I mean, think about the Tinleys and everything, like the actual like environment that this hobby brings. You have to experience it for yourself. Like and that's why I'm very blessed that I got introduced and brought to this hobby, because I was a reptile lover my whole life, but never knew this world existed till well into my 30s. Well, 32. 32 is when I was like, oh my God, like how you realize that there were full-time breeders doing this. Like I was in my 30s already. You know what I mean?
And then like the first time I really realized a reptile show,
that was nuts. I mean, I've known about reptile shows, but mind you, reptile super shows that's its own thing compared to like a tin and shit. It's different, way different vibe, and the different people. It's awesome.
I'm so bad about keeping up with the times and being in technology guy that the only reason I got online for the first time, outside of them trying to teach us stuff in high school, was to find reptile shows. Once I heard about them, I think I got a flyer at the pet store I worked at, and I was like, gotta get online. I gotta figure this out. and I'll never forget the first time that like little pet shop allowed me to work all weekend and vend for free, or work for them for free, vending this little Repticon. And the excitement of showing up there on a Friday and unboxing the stuff, watching guys picking picks off of wild caught ball pythons and the glory that was those days, and learning like what's an African tick and why is it a big deal, and why does the USDA want to kill you if they find out about it? Like, that was really interesting for me. And I still remember the smell. It was like urates, like colubrid urates.
Yeah.
I walked into that room, and to this day, like if I walked into, let's say, Eugene's colubrid room, that smells nostalgic to me. Some of us that have this in our blood, whether it's, boa litter soup, which can be gross, but to me, it's still kind of cool. Or the smell of, a colubrid room. Love it.
I don't want to be gross, but like if I have something quarantine, like I see how potent their urates and their fucking piss smells, like, because that kind of tells me like what's going on. I've had some like, holy shit, what's that?
You have to use all your senses,
dude. That's everything. Even today, when I walk into my room, the first thing that triggers in my mind is smell. I go, I whatever. Especially after I feed, I go, I smell. Heavily, you know what I mean?
Dude, apologize for the voice. I'm kind of have a scratchy throat, but I will say, like, if you are going to be in any kind of livestock, whether that's emus, llamas, or reptiles, you really do have to use all your senses. You can't be afraid to get in there and give it a whiff. You have to keep your ears out. You know what I mean? You hear a weird fecal going off in a tub, check it out. A lot of times it just sounds weird and it's fine. But it's like you have to be involved.
It's kind of like you almost understand a dog now, right? Because like dogs have crazy senses, but like it's so strong that like it gets their attention and they go crazy. That's kind of like how it is when you have.
Well, dude, humans are no different. We just don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. But like it's hardwired in us, in our primate brain. Our olfactory senses record to memory and attach to feeling more than many other senses, and that we don't realize. Yeah, definitely more than sight.
Shout out to my wife, because her senses are fucking no joke. Like if I'm out on a trip and like, she'll know just by walking in the room going down, because like the way, how she's trained to do that, like as far as like the amount of time she's come in and done stuff for me while I'm gone. So yeah, it's crazy how like when you're paying attention, like how strong the scenting is, you know what I mean? And how it paints a whole picture of what's going on in the room sometimes. And I don't try to be Mr. Judgy when I go to people's reptiles room, but that's the first thing I pay attention to is the smell. I'm like, what's the 100%. Smell like? Yeah. And I've smelled some raunchy fucking rooms before, bro. Like,
yeah, well, and I think just like anything, right? It's like 10,000 hours. You don't even mean to pick it up along the way, but you do, because you're somewhere and you get hit with different smells and or a certain. It's almost like you can feel like a dank humidity versus like a healthy humidity, where like a room's just, the temps aren't being kept right. There's weird hot pockets. it's creating an off balance. And usually, like, you know, over time, you realize, like, oh, I would never want to buy from that guy. And you just start picking it up over time. Like the look, the smell, the feel of a healthy collection. It doesn't have to be perfectly organized and shiny, beautiful outside the tubs for it
No.
to be healthy. But I personally like it to be well organized and shiny.
So let's kind of go back to like when you started like looking at the investment side of things. Like what was your first huge investment snake that you bought in the ball python game?
So early on, you were kind of asking me how I funded things, right? So it started by being able to buy cheaper stuff, right? Like sand boas, very into sand boas for a very long time, in and out of Amazon tree boas. Obviously, the leopard geckos and bearded dragons early on. The first time I had a bunch of sand boas, it just worked out this way, but I had a bunch of sand boas successfully lay litters, which that's a great building species because it's pretty easy to be successful and it builds your confidence. And I love them. I think they're fantastic animals. And it's rewarding. But basically, you know, I had these Samboas, let's say 36 bearded dragons, 20 something leopard geckos, and I moved them all to this wholesaler in Tampa who I'd met at a Repticon. And he cashed me out, and it was, I don't know, it was probably like $1,200 maybe at the time, like something like that. Something to me that was staggering. And then I used that money to buy my first couple of ball pythons. I bought some females, and then I bought because I'd been kind of following what's going on. I had friends that were getting into it, and you know, along the way, I was like, "Nah, that's dumb." You know, I was a part of the ball python haters club early on. You know, just being like, "That's not real herpetoculture." Went down to Greg Graziani's in like early 2008 or late 2007, something like that. And he had those old vision racks that had the clear tubs. And as he was just breaking down the genetics of, well, that's a pastel, that's a super pastel, that's a spider, that's a bumblebee, that's a super pastel spider, that's a killer bee. And I could see it right there. And I'm like, whoa, you can get these mixed and match and like stepped up genetic combos in one pairing, or let alone three subsequent pairings, you know, stepping up along the way.
Yeah.
And I was hooked from there, honestly. And so from there, I traded a couple people, knew a person that had a few, and they're like, I'm getting rid of these, took their females, bought some used racks, you know, the old melamine style. And then my first investment, real investment on a credit card was supposed to be a super blast het hypo. Ended up just being a lemon blast. That definitely set me back. And then I picked up a couple of orange ghosts. I was buying hypos early on from like 2008 onward. I didn't make the best investments as far as like choices, right? And I also got ripped off on that first male that I spent. I want to say it was like $5,000. I maxed out a $5,000 credit card on that Super Blast Het hypo. Bred it to hypos, no hypos. Also, not all pastels, which really mattered at the time. And from there, I picked up. I was basically kind of worried about how I was going to make all this work. And I took a big gamble. I saw Brock Wagner hatched out a mimosa ball python, all orange, black, plastic looking eyes. And I was like, that's that's a python. Like, that's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And so I saved up for a year slash borrowed money, figured out how to borrow money. And I told him I want the first male next year. And I paid him $10,000 for that male.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, while I was barely figuring out how to pay for the credit card debt I had gotten myself in on the other ball pythons. And I was like, if this works, I believe this will work.
Wait, how old were you like during this moment right here? I'm talking about where that shit didn't prove hypo. What year? When was this?
I mean, that was 2008. So
okay, so you're in your 20s, like fucking
yeah.
And so, and what I want to ask you is like, you know, there's still people
23.
Like I said, it's not common, but there's still people getting fucked like this in a sense, like buying 100%. Stuff. They got their shed testing. Shout to RGI and Charlie, but like, you know, good thing. Like there's
the world we're living in now is incredible. I mean, if you're not taking advantage of shed testing, what are you doing? you know.
But not everyone's able to bounce back sometimes. Like some of these fucking like scam fucking situations really make people like not be able to recover, and they just never want to come back. But I'm curious with you. What'd you do? Like, what was your instant thought when you realized like this isn't what I paid for? This is what I thought. Like, and
I was so, dude, I was so upset, and I went over this guy's table. I knew he was going to be in Daytona that year. I went over this guy's table, and I did my best hard ass, but let's be real, I'm not the best hard ass. And I was like, you're gonna make this right, and da 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 da. I think maybe he gave me like a hypo pastel female or something, and a lot of lip service. And then I realized, like, how much energy and effort am I going to put into this? And I'm very much the type of person that I'm pretty good at just letting shit go. That happened to me. It happened. I'm not fixing it. It was definitely a shock to the system. But then my pivot was, I mean, I guess I just never saw any other avenues in my life. Like working at JOB wasn't, getting me the money to bail myself out of the ball python endeavor I had wandered into. Right. And I mean, I was just pretty singular focused. Like I got into this with ball pythons. I'm getting out of this with ball pythons. And like I said, I saved up that money. I got that mail from Brock. And in one season, so I bought it in 2009. In 2010, selling champagnes for 3,500 and mimosas for 5,000 to 6,500, pretty solidly. Dug myself out of that hole, built a little positive income, bought a new rack system. At the time, it was the Vision racks I had seen at Greg Graziani's prior. I was so excited building those things. It felt like a real pro putting my little heat cable in there. And yeah, that was a huge confidence builder. And the little bit of extra I paid off the debt, did all that. And the little bit of extra I had, Brock had hatched 2 lesser clowns, the first 2 lesser clowns, and they were dead in the egg. And so everybody on the little limited internet sphere at the time, King Snake Forums, BP.net, BLBC, they were all like, oh, lethal combo. Don't ever do lesser clown. Never. It'll never work. They're dead. Look, there's 2. They're both dead. So I was able to get a really sweet deal on a male lesser het clown because Brock
was believing all the hype in the like the whole like, oh, this is fun. No, so he went cheap. No. What do you mean?
No, he wasn't believing the hype, but people weren't clamoring to buy them because everybody was like, whoa, let's kind of hold back. I don't know how that's going to go. Okay. And I was like, just with the knowledge I had, I'm like, there's no way that's a lethal combo. That's just bad luck, So I was able to pick up a lesser het clown from him, got that male breeding, that same year, and produced like 7 lesser clowns the following year.
No issue, obviously.
Yeah, and so along the way, of course, I traded some like champagne stuff and some lemon blast stuff and spinner blast stuff for het clown females, and picked up some of that stuff. And those were the first clowns I ever made, were lesser clowns.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said this, but man, I mean, it's a lot crazier now. But like even when I came in 2017, when I really started looking at like the morphs, like so spoiled compared to the way you were raised, because you see all this crazy shit and then like you're over it the next day. Like the next day, it's like you like, for instance, like Banana was my very first gene, I would say, where I was so blown away and I couldn't wait to have it. Right. And then as soon as I got that Banana that I couldn't like stop thinking about for months, I found out what a pied was. And then like the Banana was like moved down the bench Banana, like I was crazy about pies. And then
that's the fun of this hobby, though, is that there's always another. I'm going to use Justin's term, but he really nailed it. It's dopamine hits. We get like whether you're into sports gambling or ball pythons or track running, you're looking for dopamine hits. So it's like that is kind of the fun of this. But I would agree with you. Currently, it seems like the industry's attention span is basically set to like a TikTok level, quickness. It's like, got a banana looking at a pie, got a pie looking at a clown. Forget ball pythons, I'm looking at these emerald tribos.
Well, I mean, even like what people like yourself and Brock and Justin that are producing, like they only talk about it for a couple days and it's on to the next one. It's like this shit is over. Like it's so quick how the game's moving right now. It's ridiculous. Like, and I don't know, like if you're not taking advantage of shed testing and doing like the cheat codes that you could possibly do in this hobby today, it's like, dude, you're gonna I don't know. Growth is just going to happen for you, but it's going to be a lot slower compared to someone who's all over the shed testing. You know what I mean?
Yes. I couldn't agree more with you there. I mean, I know I'm not the only one, but shed testing has definitely changed the way that I look at my pairings.
Yeah.
Because,
Sure.
and again, to steal something from somebody else, Will Morose has been saying for a while, it's like a codom. It's just hidden behind a paywall now. You can breed a tricked out double het clown DG to anything in your collection where you're trying to get that direction without having to have waited to have made the double visual so you would know what you're working with,
You believe Will Morrows is going to be an American?
Yeah, I love it.
That's pretty fucking awesome. Not gonna lie.
Dude, Georgia's just getting stacked up there with these guys, man. I
Yeah.
love Florida. I don't want to leave, but I keep feeling like eventually I'm gonna have to end up in Georgia. Not just because of it's not just that I like those people, it's that motivational circle. It's like there's a lot of good energy, a lot of good knowledge, and they're good, they are all good people up there. So you build in there's already a good infrastructure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I gotta tell
Especially
you,
with Bob.
I will say Georgia and South and North Carolina. I haven't been to North Carolina, but South Carolina's fucking gorgeous. No, hold on. I haven't been to South Carolina. North Carolina's gorgeous.
That no offense to anybody in South Carolina, but that makes a lot more sense.
No, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty down there, and I will say, overall, good weather for reptiles. You would say?
Yeah, no. I would definitely say so. I will say I would be intimidated because we did actually think about moving there in 2022.
Moving's scary.
Well, I'm born and raised in Florida, born and raised Central Florida, born in Orlando. And I just know whether it's ball pythons or anything else, it's like I know my reptile room. I know my climate and I know how to breed in this climate. And spending a lot of time, whether it's in Nebraska or Michigan or even just Georgia, where it gets a hell of a lot colder in the winters. I'm like, man, I don't want to have to deal with this. I know how I do things down here. It would change the whole cycle of my season,
So,
moving, so, but yeah.
That's honestly because obviously if you had all the money or whatever, moving sounds great. More property, more facility. But then again, okay, that the process of doing it, actually getting the animals from point A to point B, getting them comfortable in that room.
Yes.
You have to put breeding off a whole year, if that minimum, I would say.
Dude, mad respect to Will for having the balls. I mean, that guy, that is some testicular fortitude right there. Saying, look at me worrying about getting on clutch, right? Or or evolving to the future with everybody else there. This guy's no, I'm going to make a bold decision of moving all the way down to Georgia in the United States from Canada. And just, he's doing it. It's really impressive.
This is what makes RCR so gangster. His pops is basically, this is his game plan. I think he's only sending down babies. And I think all the adult females and all the male breeders are going to stay on that property where he's at. And his dad's going to keep breeding them. And so basically, all the new stock is just going with Will, so he could raise it up and then breed just that. So he's not bringing any of the current stuff breeding with him, which is smart. That's brilliant right there.
It is.
If you're raising it up, it's you don't have to worry about breeding for fucking another year or two anyway. So why does it matter? And so that's
true.
Yeah, and so that was
it's still stressful and it won't be easy, but that is a huge advantage right there. And that's a really clever way to do it. And that goes back to relationships, right? That's his dad, but that's a relationship. Without that relationship, Will wouldn't have had that same ability. There's strength in numbers, and I think the higher the quality and the higher the quantity of those quality relationships, the better off you're going to be in this business.
And it's just a unique position to have your pops fucking run the show with you, because it's fuck, I would love to have that, but my dad has other shit going on. And so everyone has little advantages somehow in the game. I got my wife, so I'm good. Not that she's here with me, but if I need something, she's here for me. And so that's I can't.
Well, dude, I mean, look, I mean,
Well,
I know your wife helps with the animals. Mine did as well before we had the two kids, and now I'm like mostly it's all my hands out there. But
yeah,
I mean, she'll still pull a clutch if I need her to, or do
badass.
whatever I need her to. But the main thing is the support, like having a supportive
Yes,
spouse, which I know
yes,
you do. I
yes.
do beyond belief. I have supportive parents. I have a supportive spouse, and I'm lucky to have incredible friends.
Big time.
I am what I might lack in being, a gajillionaire, I definitely make up for with the quality of people in my life. 100%.
Yeah, because listen, I mean, obviously money was always something I wanted to have at some point in life, but like, all that without the support and love doesn't really matter, and like it's literally you look at the surroundings you have and like I feel like that's true riches, like support, like real love and support.
Yeah.
There's some people who don't have that. Like and for whatever reason, we don't, everyone has their own fucking flaws or issues in life, but like not everyone has the same kind of support as others, and so that's why like any kind of support you have is like tremendous in this game, I feel like.
No, I couldn't agree more, especially when it comes to live animals. I mean, that's huge. You look at like the Justin and Chase relationship right there. That's a great example.
God,
Two people that may, oh God, we all wish we had a Chase. Come on.
Oh,
It's like you get lucky if you can get a good, reliable tub scrubber or somebody to help you scrub tubs and maybe check for feeders on feeding day if you have a really big collection like myself, because that can get exhausting. And if there's one thing I won't tolerate, it is a leftover rat in a tub. I mean, I have a super zero tolerance policy for that.
yeah.
I just feel like it's so unfair to the snake. It just drives me nuts. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, sorry. But yeah, good people and good support is huge.
Yeah, and another thing that like, I mean, it doesn't make me jealous, but it's kind of like, God damn it, man! Like, how can I get a team like that? Is when I go to Justin's place and I see just like it's a lot more than Chase. You obviously you got Rob who works over there now, and like and then Holly, which is Chase's sister. They just have a fucking squad over there, man, and like they're all just locked in, and like they all got their jobs there, and they don't fuck around. Like they're just working, and it's like seeing that like is just so impressive. Like I know there's so many things I need help with that I could use, but I'm just so like in my own world. I don't want nobody to fucking be in here, but I could use the help. Like I have a trust issue when it comes to that. I'm working on it. I got one helper now. Shout out to my boy Alan. It was first day yesterday. Alan, you did a great job, by the way. Like I have my
first day.
Yeah, I have my ways of folding paper, and he killed it. He did a great job. So shout out to Alan if you're listening to this. So I do kind of feel better, but like even that is like it takes a lot for me to like have someone come into my home and like be hands-on with something I'm used to being hands-on, but I'm just so busy. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you have to learn how to let go sometimes.
No, 100% true. And honestly, MJ, I mean, in the reptile industry, obviously you're laying down green tree pythons like the freaking colubrids over there, buddy. So you're doing great, and you are producing, like you're doing something. But I really feel like the largest thing that you contribute to this industry is where you've taken the social media, the podcast, the content side of things, and not content just for content's sake, but like quality content. We need people like you, people like Justin that are forging this whole thing ahead so that it can keep growing and expanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm sure it's really hard to split your time, but there's a lot of value in the non-hands-on snake stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, I'm on my 8th year as far as like looking at myself as a breeder, I guess you can say, and with growth, there are times, like I said, where you need to hand other positions to certain people if you can, because it's only going to free up time for you to keep growing. And like, dude, I have so much opportunity even to this day with this network that I could be focusing on and like doing shit that I got to do to grow this. Like,
yeah,
even though how can you do more than 7 days a week? I do. There's certain days of the week I want to drop multiple episodes. Like, I got plans, you know what I mean? But like, also like the breeding side of that is important. Like one of the things in my head, and I'm so glad, like, thank God I got some success finally, like with the emeralds and chondros. Like, I don't want to be known as a podcaster. Like, I get it. Like, I'm bringing amazing stuff, but I don't want to just be a fucking loudmouth. And mind you, I get paid good money to be a loudmouth, but still, like, I want the breeding to be like what I'm known for. Like, really, that is more important to me than all of this. I started this so I could learn how to breed. That's really why I wanted a podcast, because I learned I can.
Well, that's probably why the content's has substance to it. You know what I mean? And dude, you are breeding. Like I said, big congrats on your season this year for sure. So, and like I will say, when it comes to being hands-on, for me, there is definitely something about laying eyes on those snakes, and you can learn so much from an ultrasound. You can learn so much from also how they're eating and like what trends, how they're eating, how they're laying, how they look, how they're responding to a male. Like I paired up like 65 males the other day, right? And I mean, I was in there within 2 hours after I had them paired. I was in there checking all of them, seeing because sometimes we get these speed lockers. And then if you check them the next morning, you're going to be, you think they never lock. They're in separate ends of the tub. So it's like, I like to be in there 2 hours later. I like to be in there in the evening. And then I like to be in there at night after I get my kids down. And then of course, first thing in the morning. And it tells you a lot by how those animals are behaving when they're paired together.
I mean, dude, like I said, I know everyone has their different levels of passion and obsession, but I could tell with you, Winston, like I'm just so obsessed with this shit. Like I am just so like it's the air I fucking breathe. It really is. Like it's not more important than my family. That's number one. Well, God's number one. Then my family's right there. But like this right here, bro, like this is why like it breaks my heart to see people leave. And I get it. Some people got to do what they got to do. But yeah, you got to fucking literally chop my goddamn torso off. Like I have to like not have hands and legs before you take me out of this game. Like there's no way. Like
you got the guys that leave because they're disillusioned, right? Like, so I think you got people who leave for different reasons. We all know the people that like get into it, and they've got a lot of other stuff, a lot of other revenue sources. What they put in isn't that painful for them to lose. They get in, they're like, this was fun for a minute, but it's a lot of hassle, I'm out. But then you have other people that have been in it for, let's say, 10 years. And we've seen some painful ones go lately, and that break my heart. But the good ones, you notice they're still around. Like, all of a sudden they're doing a little bit of this and they're doing a little bit of that, and they're still showing up to shows. And it's because they had to transition for whatever reason in their life, but it's in their blood, just like you said. Like, no, like they don't ever really leave,
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen, like, look at Chris Eaton, dude. Dude doesn't even own a stake. He's still around. Like it's like there's lots of people that it's just they can't leave. It's in their blood.
So I gotta mention this. I get like when times get tough, we got to look at where we could kind of save some money. And I want to say, ever since the market's kind of been like shaken up a little bit, like with like everything in the last couple years, I noticed people mentioning certain breeders selling snakes damn near 2 years old that are like a couple hundred grams. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Just small. And is there any excuse for that? You being a breeder? Because mind you, I've seen Winston. I've seen your displays. Okay, fucking beautiful animals. Okay, beautiful animals, all young, all great size. But like
they're age appropriate size.
So, but like, is there an excuse for that? Like, do you feel like that's okay?
Okay, so it depends on the person, right? Or if you are talking about, because there is a reason for that. If you are I love animal propagation. I mean, I love everything about the animal world, no matter the species. But like, so when I was realizing how many big breeders were in Florida and figure out who were the good ones and who weren't and stuff, you start to learn the corporate side of things, right? Like we are ball python hobby, direct. And I mean, and even though Justin Kabelka is big and streamlined and a real, I mean, I don't want to call him corporate because that's an insult almost, but like a really well-refined, serious business. He's not corporate Reptile. But the people who are, you have a certain size range that your Petco, your PetSmart, or your broader distributor that's going to push them out to Pet Supplies Plus and all the other chains, they want them to be in a certain size range. So you can maintain a healthy ball python on a moderate diet as long as you're not starving it and you're keeping it consistently fed. It's like that is one unique reason for it. If you're a hobby breeder and you're delivering me a 250-gram 2-year-old animal, I'm not buying that animal. I'm pretty sketched out. That's
and I'm sure you tell your friends and others don't do that either, right?
no. I don't know anyone who's not specifically what I would call a corporate breeder that does that. I mean,
No, I meant in general. No, here's the thing. I'm talking about I'm looking at snakes that are goddamn hobbyist snakes here. Like I'm not talking about snakes.
there's no reason for that. I can't even understand the reason for that. Especially if it's a quality animal, like we had a couple of really good quality monsoon males that were left up until last week, and then pop, all 3 of them sold in like a week, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But Brock and I were talking, and I was like, we need to up their feeder game. Like, I want to get those as big as humanly possible for Daytona. Because that's not only is that, the animal's going to be happy, but that's what, especially a show in August, there's a big incentive to picking up a quality 650-gram 2024 male in August. You're going to be able to breed him, or most likely, as long as he cooperates, be able to breed him that winter. So I couldn't understand that mentality from a hobbyist breeder.
And my only awareness on this is like, I don't want the misconception of people thinking like, well, I'll just get it to get big. Well, dude, you don't understand. When a snake's goddamn 2 years old being underfed like that, I don't want to say underfed, but fed very lightly, that stomach, like it almost like stunts the snake. I'm serious. Like I've heard stories firsthand of people trying to slam these fucking snakes with food after not being fed like that their first couple of years, and the snake rolls and it dies,
especially with species other than ball pythons, like
ball
pythons.
We're talking like I'm talking. This right here is about ball pythons. I don't.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's even worse with other species, because what you're saying right there about trying to slam it when it's been just trickle fed with other species is like, that's always the bad move. But with ball pythons,
ball pythons are German tanks. It's really hard to fuck a python. But guess what? That's one way to fuck one up if you have plans of breeding it. Now, if you want to sell it as a pet, go ahead. I get that part, but even then, feed that thing what you should feed it. Personally, that's just me. I'm not
well, like I said, I do believe there's a right way to do it, right? And it's weird because I can't put my finger on it. This is one of those 10,000 hours of experience things. But like you could show me 3 animals that have been maintenance fed appropriately or not appropriately, and I could tell you which one was which. Like, which one would I take and know that I could go home, start bringing them along, and just grow that thing, super quick. So it's a mixed bag, but in general, I don't think that's a great practice.
I think it's terrible because there's a lot of people like yourself, Brock, Miguel, I mean, whoever, they get these fucking snakes plumpy as shit, and like they look beautiful within the first 6 months, and so like anyone's gonna start connecting dots. Like, why the fuck am I gonna spend money on a 200-gram snake that's 2 years old when this fucking male is goddamn 400 grams in 6 months, or not even 6 months? Like,
no, I couldn't agree more. And I think that the other thing is, like, it's not just that breeder obviously cares about his animals, but for me personally, like when I hit those leopard yellow belly hypo puzzles, this was my first year hatching puzzles, right? Like I've admired them for a long time, got puzzle stock from Barry and Jason, and my founding stuff from Barry Swope, of course. And when I hatched those, my first goal before they shed was like, I can't wait to see this at 350 grams. I want to get it as big as possible to be able to show off to people, because they look so much better. It's exciting to grow them. If you're looking at it like in some kind of grouchy or like Scroogey way of like, well, that's for sale, I'm feeding it one little mouse a month. I mean, again, this goes back to what are you even doing here? Like, if you're not excited to see it grow and look better, like, why are you even doing this?
Yeah, I mean, just for me, like, I listen, I try to, because we all change the same, no matter the value of the snake, they all get the same water, they all get the same fucking way of getting taken care of. So I look at that with the feeding
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like no matter what, like it's a normal. I don't give a fuck. It's getting hit with a good sized meal. Like because for me, I just it makes me happy to see the snake happy with food. You know what I mean? Not that it's
There is definitely something gratifying. I've talked to Chase at Canova about this.
Yeah.
There is something very gratifying about like a strong feeding day, where it's just like that, just everything's grabbing and wrapping and they're taking second rounds, and then that it just feels good.
So since we're on the topic of feeding, how do you produce your own rodents or what do you do with that?
Nope. I've got down here in Florida, it's challenging unless you got some property and you're not going to bother any neighbors and that sort of thing. And I've also never, I'll be honest, I do like animal propagation, but unless I had the financial, the capital up front to really build out the type of rodent production facility I would want to see, kind of like what Justin did up in Georgia, it's never been something that's caught my eye. I am really lucky that I have a very, very reliable delivery source that delivers to me, every Tuesday. I also have multiple local guys that are really good rodent breeders. So I also have a Thursday order. So I feed twice a week. And I'll do like a smaller feeding, more specialized feeding day on Thursday, just doubling up on ones I really want to make sure I double up on. But yeah, I'm paying for my rodents, which really, it makes this business a challenge sometimes.
And I think obviously demographically, you're in a good place where motherfucker people got rodents for sale. You know what I mean? Like
that's true.
Yeah.
Other than the COVID boom, that was, Corey DeLong, great friend of mine, love that guy. He was driving up to Georgia to get rodents,
oh my God.
The COVID, I was driving to Miami. I was down there near freaking Amelia, like picking up rodents,
Damn.
So yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, but what are you going to do? You have no choice. Like you have to they got to eat, you know what I'm saying? Unless you plan on not having any production, then you can
100%. And again, I am very lucky. Like I said, I have a lot of people around me. I have a guy, less than 10 minutes from my house. If I need 100 mice, I can go get 100 mice. If I just want to pump something for a show or whatever the reason. And my main supplier is almost never short other than in that little 6-month window of shortage after COVID or during COVID. But, guys like Brock, he breeds his own mice so that he buys his rodents, but he always has a good mouse colony going so that he can take care of the males he's trying to grow quicker or, babies for shows or just to give them extra meals,
Yeah. So, okay. I was going to ask you, since you're getting rodents once a week, I already know the fucking trick of the trade with a lot of the grow ups, they, from what I understand, they feed them every 3 to 5 days. Like it's multiple times a week. So are you buying like overstock to have some like?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I have specifically males. If I've got an investment male, Brock and I pick up a few investment males a year, and more we're doing it together because we just work so well together. And whenever we do, those males are getting fed as often as they want to eat. And you kind of learn them. If you take the time to learn your animals, you'll know. You have some animals that, they really want to eat 3 meals in a row and then take 4 days off and then eat 1 or 2. Then you have other animals that they want to eat a meal. They'll take a meal every day if you'll give it to them. But if you give them 3 in a row, they're going to take a week off. And so you look at their growth patterns and you figure out their personalities, so to speak. And whenever when that sort of stuff, I've got like just a mouse tub with, a sipper and some rodent food, keep them on hand.
Oh, all right. And so, that being said, like obviously there's preference, I guess, people who have strong beliefs on ASFs versus Norwegian rats. What's your take on, one or the other, or do you do both?
Norwegian rats are my staple, they're big. I really don't have that big of a problem getting things to eat them. Usually if they don't want to eat, it's because naturally they don't want to eat because of where they are in their breeding cycle or just they don't want to eat. But when it comes to breeding season, once I have males that click off, I'll let them go for a while. And once they go through a shed, and if they don't at least just take 1 meal, I'm getting an ASF. And I'm lucky that I have access to those pretty readily now. I have no
wait,
problem.
wait, hold on. I'm sorry. You said you offer a wrap fuzzy first or a wrap pup first?
Yeah, normally, like, so I'm talking about males that are in the middle of breeding season.
Okay.
I like right now, I have a funky season. I am like dead center of my breeding season right now in the middle of summer. So right now I'm feeding, probably 25 males, decent, either it depends on what they want, either one decent sized big ASF or 3 or 4 smaller ASFs. Basically whatever it takes to keep nutrients going in those snakes at least a few times, a month while they're breeding to keep
Okay.
them trucking along. And then sometimes you do have those males that just say no thanks no matter what you offer them. But as long as their weight's solid and steady, their hemipenes are in good health, their mouth is in good shape, then I'm not worried about it.
I don't think it was until I had Mark Bailey on the show a few years back, and I was already in the game for about 3-4 years when I realized, like, oh my God, there's people who feed more than once a week. Like, and I didn't know that was but I was like, holy shit, what a hack, because I was finding people who were pretty good at getting 6, 7, 8 month males to fucking breed and be, give you viable eggs,
Well, and it's a lot easier earlier on. Obviously, if you have a 30 snake collection, I mean, you can focus on those males. And in the last 3 years, I've gotten back to making that a priority for new investments, especially if they're on the male side. If it's a female, yeah, I want her to grow, and I'll feed her what she'll eat on Tuesdays or Thursdays, and and hope for the best. I also do a lot of. I think it really pays to pay attention to how long an animal skips eating, because there's things you can do between washing them, moving them around the room, give a hide. General knowledge or general consensus is like, put them down in a smaller series tub. But I've had girls that are in smaller series tubs that I was like, you know what, let me just try this. Yoinked them out of there, threw them in a CB70 with a hide, and they were way happier. I'd say it's like an 80-20 rule. 80% of the times they want to be in a smaller space, but if they're not happy in a smaller space, try a larger space.
It worked for me this year with 3 females that just turned off food out of nowhere. They weren't quite ready, but I paired them up. I said, fuck, I'm just going to pair these up. And for whatever reason, putting a male in there got them hungry. So they ate after pairing.
100%. Dude, like on my end, it's kind of late, but that is one thing I would have normally thrown in there really quick. Even if it's not breeding season, right? Like I keep a couple of stud males on hand.
Yeah.
Their genetics might be a little dated, but they will force breed anything. And I'll throw them in with a female that hasn't been eating, and 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, it works. Those girls will get back on food.
Yeah, and one of these girls, shout out to Dennis McNamara was in the chat. So I don't know if he's still here.
Denny Mac.
But yeah, I had one of D-Mac's blackhead clowns, and she was one of the girls. She was about 1,100 grams, and she was like fucking beast eater. And then she just stopped, and so I threw a male in there and fucking went to town on her, and she just went ballistic back on food and just didn't stop. She's about 1,600 grams now, and she ovulated.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Keep an eye on those girls. They will, dude. I just picked up an animal from Barry Swope actually. So last year, and he's like, man, yeah, like, look, I'll be honest with you, you can have her, but she don't want to eat, she don't want to breed, she don't want nothing. Brought her over here, put an aggressive male on her, and this is another good tip. Then a few days later, I put a different aggressive male on her. Yeah. So she's also feeling that genetic variety in the area, right? Yep. And dude, I think it was like 6 or 8 medium rats, ovulation, done. And after those 2 males that I put on her, I specifically put the male I wanted to breed on her, and he took the clutch. So
and you know what? Like all these little, hopefully what we're saying doesn't go over some people's heads, but like stuff like this that you don't pay attention to in the beginning could hold you back. I'm telling you, because you just go through the motions and, oh, my snake's off food, shrug your shoulders. And the next, you have to wait 6, 7 months whenever they're ready. But it's like, you don't have to wait 6, 7 months. If you fucking move them around or figure out what they need, you could get them going a lot quicker. But,
dude, it's seriously all about the amount of effort you're willing to put into your animals. And dude, if you have 1,000 animals, it is really hard to know them all. or at least it seems hard. But like, I pretty much know all my animals. I know where they are in the room. I know their personalities. Um, and you only get that by being willing to put in that much time to keeping track of who's eating, who's not, who seems unhappy, and then trying new things. Like Corey turned me on to this. Hiba cleanse wash. No, it's not that. Something else. It's like a surgical wash that surgeons use, and it destroys, basically every little molecule, including scent molecules, really well. So I started scrubbing them down with that, washing them off, rinsing them, put them in a new slot, new tub, new hide box, and a lot of times that does a big trick.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
but like you said, the more effort you put in, and also the relationships you build, because if you are tapping in with people who've been around for a while, they will put you on game. Other than this podcast, you will get put on game with a lot of these tips and tricks out there.
So speaking of relationships and like I would say same thing with the amount of work you want to put into spending time with your animals. It also matters the amount of work you want to put into or the amount of time and work you want to put into your relationships in this business.
Big time.
You can't just be flippant with people and give them little one-word answers or only talk to them when you need them and expect to actually build any kind of relationship. Like Wagner and I talk every day, sometimes more than once a day, and it feels weird when we go 2 or 3 days without talking. It's like, you have to care to want to put in the time.
It's funny you say that, because obviously I got a lot of stuff coming my way. Well, good with the emeralds, chondros, we don't know yet, but like I got people messaging me, like congratulating me, and I'm like, dude, last time you messaged me was 2022. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but like, mind you, it still feels good. Like, thanks for telling me this, but it's like, and then I had one guy who's like, hey, are you available? I'm in town. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh no, yeah,
no, like I didn't even respond to that one. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go, dude. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. The older you get, the more your life grows, and once you have children, it's really hard to make time for all of it. There's no way around it. But it's important. And if you're gonna, and in this business, right, like you see a lot of like breeder loans and partnerships that just break apart and fizzle real fast. And it's because either one or both of the parties never really had a vested interest in trying to really build that relationship. And what I mean by that is you have to like really care, not just to communicate well, but also to listen well. And the only way to listen well is to actually take the time and initiative to want to learn someone else's communication style. I can't be like, MJ, this is how I communicate. This is how you have to communicate. What's wrong with you? Boom. We're already on a fractured path. But if we both give a shit enough to be like, well, to really break things down and put the hours in of getting through struggle or turmoil or disagreements or whatever, and really caring to learn how that other person thinks and how they communicate so that you can hear them better and listen and receive what they're saying better, that's going to make all the difference in the world to the relationships that last.
Yeah, man. And like I said, kind of going back to like how this hobby can mature you, like you'll meet people that you'll see certain characteristics that like you'll respect and you'll like, and it'll like, not that you need to mimic those, but like, makes you want to become a better person. Like that's why I only surround myself with the best, Winston. Like I don't fuck around. Like my little tight knit circle that I have are nothing but fucking just hitters. Like, and I'm probably the biggest weenie out of my entire circle, but I want that. Like
that's a great thing.
I like being inspired like that. And I want like to have what they have at that age and like stuff like that. You know what I mean? But mind you, it would have never happened if it wasn't for being a part of the reptile world. And that's why, I fucking love it, man. But obviously like, it's just makes everything.
I think that we all get into this for the animals, but the people that stay, because you still like the animals. Look, the bottom line is people who love animals die loving animals. You still like the animals, but the reason you stay is people. Yes, especially in a down market with low end customers, by all means, it can get really frustrating and you can deal with some bullshit. But the best part of this industry are the people, 100%. And it used to be a really backbiting, backstabbing, closed-minded, group of people. And what I've noticed now is that people aren't so closed off. Like you said, you have a tight-knit circle of great people. What makes a great circle is that they also don't limit you from having other circles of other friends and satellite friends. That's the best thing you can do, is not have, you can have a great circle, but the worst toxic ones are the ones that want to limit, who else you can know, and who else you can build relationships or work together with, etc.
I mean, and that was kind of almost a strategic move for some people back in the day. Like they were really good at isolating new people in the hobby, and almost, I guess I call it, clawing their fucking nails into them, where like, you only buy it through me. You don't worry about nobody else. That person's a this or that, or, but like I said, that has been an era from the past. I feel like it's different now because people have a lot of hard work they're showing out on their fucking social medias. And the proof is there now.
I mean, honestly, and I mean this as a positive, I know people that that were very much that way in 2008, 2010, 2012 maybe. And as these younger generations surged into our market, different, people from all different walks of life. It wasn't all just redneck white dudes. It's like, let's be real. As that happened, and the older guys were forced online, I'm really proud of the ones that evolved, and that stopped being so limiting and evolved to stay here. I mean, I don't care who you are, that's impressive. If you can continue to change with time.
That's why I was so crazed out about this world being a thing, because the way I was raised up, like, dude, like, if you were a snake guy, you were fucking wearing a leather jacket with fucking ripped jeans. You had long hair, and you're in a fucking band or something, loped out. Like, and those guys in the 90s were scary, dude. Like those, like, and being a kid, you were just like, oh my God, like, like that's nuts. And so you just don't know how normalized this hobby has become until you actually step into it, But now it's so normalized now. Like you just see fucking.
Well, and people care about people really actually care about the coolness of the science now. I mean, everybody's paying attention to shed testing now. Right. Everybody's learning more about, molecular genetics, whether or not they realize it or not, they are. Right. The type of conversations I can have with people now about genetics is so much better than 10 years ago, or 20, let alone 20 years ago. There's a lot more people that are interested into like the natural history of these animals, the evolutionary history of them, the genetics and the husbandry, rather than just like, oh shit, dude, look how big my Burmese python is.
Yeah.
All
right, listen, I got a good topic coming up, and we're going to cut to commercial break. Okay. So you guys hang tight. Winston, go take a piss, do whatever you got to do. You got to,
dude, I was dying.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Yeah, get the likes up. Be right back after this commercial break. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Longevity is one of the biggest things I strive for when it comes to thinking about being a part of the reptile industry. That's why I'm very proud about today's sponsor, Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. 40 plus years, full-time reptile keeper, enthusiast. This guy, you can catch all his amazing ball python projects on MorphMarket. So make sure you head over to MorphMarket, and that's Mark Bailey Reptiles on MorphMarket. See what he has available currently. And I got to tell you one thing, he's one of the biggest and most respected ball python breeders we have today in the ball python game. So shout out to Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. Thank you for all the support. And again, make sure you head over to his account on MorphMarket, see what he has available. Thank you so much, Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. If you want to be organized, if you want to be cutting edge in the ball python game, then you don't want to miss this. Shout out to today's sponsor, and that's Clutch, #1 ball python organization app in the game. No better place to start off than by using this app. Clutch is an organization app that helps you organize all your ball python projects. It also helps your peers and your fellow community members look at what you possibly have coming for the upcoming ball python season, what you have currently available on MorphMarket. It's so awesome to be ahead of the game by using organization app like Clutch. Thank you so much, the entire Clutch team, amazing team over at Clutch. If I were you, I would head over to Clutch's Instagram account, and I would also head over to their website, try it out, see how it works for you. But especially if you're just now coming into this, before you build your reptile collection, I would do it organized, and I would do it with Clutch. Thank you, Clutch, for being so amazing. Excited to hear what Clutch has to bring in the near future. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Green tree pythons, emerald tree boas, and plenty other arboreal snakes have been quite the popularity here at the Trap Talk Reptile Network, which brings me to today's sponsor, the Reptile Perch. Head over to the reptileperch.com and Reptile Perch on Instagram. See what type of design PVC perch is best for your arboreal reptile. But first and foremost, I would also check out David Brom's Green Tree Python availability on the website. And you can also check out his Instagram just to stay current on any projects or any productions that he posts. Thank you so much, David Broms, for your ongoing support. Looking forward to seeing what you have to show in the 2025 season. When you think about building a good community and being a leader of that community, nobody comes to mind better than Mark Hager over at Texas Chondros. That's right. Make sure you head over to TX Chondros on Instagram and also head over to Mark's website. See what he has available Green Tree Python wise, and be ready for quite the 2025 Green Tree Python breeding season out of Mark Hager. He's a veteran in the Green Tree Python game, one of the best and nicest breeders in the Green Tree Python game. He's been putting on the whole state of Texas for as long as I've known him. So if you want to see all the amazing other chondro keepers out of the state of Texas, another good reason to go follow Mark Hager over at TX Chondros on Instagram. And again, head over to his website, texaschondros.com. You can find all the links in the description below. Thank you so much, Mark Hager, for supporting the trap. Treat. All right, we're back, and there's no Winston. I guess he's dropping a deuce. But yeah, guys,
Wow.
go to MorphMarket's YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Set your reminder for tomorrow's vlog. So I just want to do this shameless plug for MorphMarket's YouTube channel. And yeah, listen, if you're into monitors, okay, you're not going to want to miss tomorrow's vlog going down at 8:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So shout out to Mike Stefani over at Mike's Monitors. But all right, we're back, Winston. Let's get the likes up, everyone. Let's get to some market talk, some current market talk.
Yeah.
Hold on, before we get into details, because there's a lot of projects I want to talk to you about. Some sort of a drought, I guess, happening. Maybe with the rodent supply. I forgot, shout out to Emilio, but he wanted me to ask you a question in regards to like how much is this drought going to affect the success for breeding this year for a lot of people?
I mean, everybody's different, right? Like I have a uniquely lucky relationship. But if you can't get rodents, you can't produce. I mean, you got to feed them to breed them. This is the bottom line. So if there is a shortage affecting a lot of people, it's definitely going to affect production. And I think between, some of the COVID breeder exodus mixed with not even just COVID breeders, some of these guys that have been here for 10 or 12 years and they just decided wherever they were at in their life that they were moving on, we're going to see lower production there. And then couple that with a reduction of easy access to food. I mean, yeah, you're going to see some level of hit to that, especially with the smaller hobby breeders that aren't going to be willing to do whatever it takes to get rodents,
And this is like, man, I could have easily been one of these people, but like you find ways to grow so quick sometimes that you don't really understand that, like, holy shit, by me not breeding my own rodents, this weekly rodent supplier that I have could disappear, or something could happen, and I don't have a backup plan. That's what happened to me. Like, dude, I'm breeding after I don't know how many years of not breeding rodents. I'm now breeding rodents again. All because finally my guy was like, dude, MJ, like, I can't get you this week, and I don't know if I can get you next week. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? You've been coming for 8 years. Like, what are you talking about? And so, and that heart, like, and mind you, this was 2 days before he was supposed to originally drop off. So I'm like, I'm like, I got 2 days to find fucking my normal order, and which I was able to, but like that amount of stress, man, like. And so,
well, that also goes to collection size. If you had 1,500 animals,
oh god,
good luck being able to figure that one out.
No, right? Yeah,
you live and die if you're really doing this. I mean, locked in, really doing this. You live and die by your rodent supply. I mean,
for sure,
there's no way around it. It is an absolute superpower to breed your own rodents, and the economic side of it. Like Emilio, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on your podcast. I mean, dude, that guy, the way he knows his numbers, like every time I've heard that guy, whenever he's talking on this podcast, it makes me feel like I am not doing enough. That guy, I wish he lived in Orlando, because he is such a motivating factor.
Jeez, bro.
I mean, dude, look, here's the thing. You don't have to be producing DG hypo Pompeys, you know what I mean? Clown, you know what I mean? To be a top tier breeder. Like when you talk to Emilio, you're like, this is a guy who is completely locked in, at a level that's really impressive. So,
and it's like that, like, just one conversation, you have a feeling like, oh my God, I'm talking to someone who's really been in this game. And, Emilio's 20 plus years experience. So, and he's from Florida. Like, you think about like the Mecca, right? So like this fucking guy, you want to talk about pythons, you're about to go to school. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and then also like the big important part, feeding, like the rodents, which like, dude, like not a lot of people understand how important that part is. If you want more snakes, you better think of the rodents, dude. Like that's hand in hand.
100%. Bill Brandt talked to me years and years and years ago about like all legend.
Yeah.
All this data he had recorded on females that ate X amount of small rats in between breeding seasons versus females that ate X amount of, I think his number was 13, and he had a gram weight to it, but like not quite a large, but like a big medium rat. And he was like, if you can at least get 13 in them, they're gonna go. If you can get 16 to 18 in them, you're gonna probably get an extra egg or two out of that clutch. And I mean, I don't have my numbers as locked in as Bill Brandt or Emilio, but I will say that is definitely true. The girls that I can pound with medium rats when they will take them, I mean, dude, if they will take them, I'll give them 5 a week, because the return is always there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm not. I have a lot to prove still. I feel like to myself when it comes to saying like I'm a fucking, like I know my shit when it comes to breeding. But I gotta tell you one thing I feel very strong about. If you want to be successful at being a good reptile breeder, get the feeding down. It's all about the feeding, man. I mean, temps, obviously, husbandry, that stuff matters, but that food, you get them to go by the food. I'm telling you right now, that's on any species. I don't give a fuck what it is. It's all about the food, dude. It really is.
Nope, I agree. Even if you're doing lizards, right? Like
even lizards, you gotta feed the breed. Yeah. You want to know that? Okay, I heard a fucking saying in the monitor world when I first got the lace monitors. You keep them hot, you feed them a lot. That was what you do.
Yeah. Varanids need serious temperatures, and you can't just throw them erect. They need a good varied diet. Like with almost all lizards, even down to geckos. Yeah. You've got to look at your nutrition. We're kind of lucky with something like a python. It's pretty much, outside of some of the really, cool other species, your mainstream pythons, you just got to get them the mice or rats. I mean, you know what I mean? We're not like when I was breeding blue tongue skinks, I was always having to look into refining my diet and trying to figure out how to get more and more micro macronutrients in there at a broader spectrum.
Let me ask you this. How often are your males shutting off food, your breeder males? How often do they shut off food?
I have the rare male. I always do. I mean, I have a handful that will eat through breeding season. He's not pounding food, but he's taking 2 or 3 rats a week. I mean, a month. But most of the time, I mean, they click off food. You have to monitor them. And like I said, I recently in the last 5 years have started going out of my way to make sure I get African softers. So after they're off for just a little while, I can get a little nutrients in them. But I mean, that's pretty much just the thing that's going to happen. If you're not just pairing him to 2 females, he's going to go off food.
Yeah, I just realized, like, I mean, for me, I don't have a lot of males that go off food. It almost scares me when they go off food for whatever reason, because the only male I've ever had roll on me was one that turned off food during breeding. But mind you, too, I will be honest, I don't think I was that mindful of like making sure he was getting meals in him, and he was just fucking going ballistic. Like this guy.
Well, and you probably didn't have the reps under your belt to recognize like the body shape, the movement. Is he fucking up against you the same? What was that?
It happened pretty quick. Like it was like he wasn't looking like shit. Like he was an 800-gram fucking snake, and so he looked good up to the point where he refused food, and then I paired him again one more time. And then things just didn't look good after that. And I was like, and then I ended up just putting him in his own thing. He never ate and just ended up rolling. And I was like, wow, that's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, he could have had something else going on.
Probably.
There are a lot of of other factors that happen. I have a friend that back when I was in college was breeding blood pythons, and he was he wasn't a veterinary student, but he was very much that type of guy. He he was very comfortable opening an animal up and seeing what was going on and being knowledgeable about what was going on. And he opened this female blood python up that just rolled on him out of nowhere. And she had burst a valve in her heart,
Wow. Yeah, what do you do?
and
Yeah.
right. And it's not like we know when we slide open a tub and a perfectly healthy animal that ate last week has healthy fecals, no rest, rolls. We don't know if she had cancer. We don't know if she had some weird lymph node disease. There's all these other things that go on with living organisms that we don't always think about.
I mean, you've been around the game for a while, so did you ever have any experience or any encounters with like getting a snake sick with Nido or anything like that, or had anyone go through that?
Standard package answer, never, nothing. No, obviously, I mean, like we've got to be real, in this business.
I love that you said that. But go ahead.
And it's funny because I really never did with anything other than ball pythons, whether it was Morelia or Liasis or Anatresia, like all of those were always rock solid for me.
Yeah.
However, once I got a really good size collection going, and I got, I was getting into that 150 clutch a year mark. It was in the early 20 teens. I started seeing some resp, and I was very lucky that I got just some shrewd cutthroat advice from Bill Brandt, the Bells, Chunku, and at the end of the day, you don't treat it. At least for me, you have to call the animals, clean the spots, disinfect, cut your losses, and I hopefully that's not too harsh. But I will say I haven't experienced Nido or any resp of any sort since, I mean, what are we, 2025? So a solid decade. But also healthy quarantine practices. Like right now I'm down here at my office. I have incubators here and I got a bunch of overflow baby racks and stuff. And it's also where my quarantine stuff goes. These days we're lucky we can do Nido tests. But I've never had a ball python in quarantine for 6 months that ever ended up going on to have rest or anything like that. I'm usually mostly checking for healthy fecals and mites. That's my biggest thing. But yeah, once I got really serious, it's like it was a pretty short-lived problem in the sense that it was there. I had a lot of friends in the veterinary field that cut it to me pretty straight as far as like the long-term success of like treating them and having them no longer carry Nido or be able to shed it. And I didn't waste a lot of time trying to keep sick animals in my collection, treating them, etc.
I bring that up because there's one of the fucking, I don't know how many people at this point that are getting out, but he's still putting out YouTube content, like I guess trying to give advice, and I guess that's good. Like, obviously you failed, but you're giving advice on how you failed and stuff. But one of the things he mentioned was like, yeah, I got Nido in 2021 and I lost $10,000 worth of snakes, and I'm like, wow, like what the fuck, like. But mind you, like, dude, like, going so quickly and not really understanding how to quarantine first and foremost, like
going so quickly is usually a big way that Nido ends up in there. Like at that time, I was acquiring collections of. So we've been through. All right, we're talking market talk. We've been through this a gajillion times. I told you I was down at Greg Graziani's. Quick side note. Back in like early 2008, and at that time, he was in the middle of giving us a giant speech of how it really isn't that worth it to try to do this as a business anymore. It's over. It's gone. It's done with. That's why he's moving into crocodilians. And so it was in like that, for me, it was like that 2011, 2012-ish lull in the market. A lot of Florida people getting out. You start seeing the bigger guys that have been here forever start buying up collections and selling them out and parting them out and making money that way. And so I started acquiring a lot of adults from other people to grow a little quicker and keep the genetics I need, keep the racks I need, move out the rest. And it was in that period that I experienced, rest for the first time, because I was getting way too big, way too fast. Didn't have a great quarantine system down at that time for ball pythons because it didn't feel like I needed it. And I learned really, really fast, and I changed the way I did everything. And by 2015 onward, I'm yet to see, knock on wood, another respiratory case.
And like, dude, like again, like I can't really talk too much shit because I move so quick in this game, and it worked out for me, thankfully. But man, one of the biggest things I can't stand is like someone who's just new into this, but they just want the whole fucking appearance right off the bat. Like they just want to look like that person. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
And without even knowing if they're meant for this yet. Like they haven't put in any time really. Like I'm talking first year, you got stickers, you got everything, you got the whole kit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Standard issue move, t-shirt, stickers.
But it's also like doesn't that put like, I feel like this guy I mentioned, and I honestly, I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't remember his name. It was like letters something, I forget. But anyways, he was, it just seemed like all his advice that he got was like cheap advice, like meaning like it was all like cliff notes and shortcut advice, like all shortcuts advice on how quick you could do this. But I'm like,
yeah, and a lot of just general platitudes you hear thrown around. Yeah. It's not substantial. And then and I'm sure he's got a website and a YouTube channel, and also his social media looks great. But then you got Mark Bailey. If Mark Bailey ever made a sticker in his fucking life. And that guy, he's got the knowledge, you know what I mean? He's got the experience, it's like you've got your Brock Wagners of the world, he's like me, he's doing his best to keep up and remind people that he's out there. But I mean, his experience is 90% of that pillar. And then, the amount that he puts into his branding and his YouTube or his social medias and stickers is that little top 10%,
I'm not saying this because he was in the chats earlier, or I'm not saying this because he put me in a headlock at Tinley. I will say Brock's my favorite OG. Like when you hear stories about fucking slinging fucking $50,000 bananas and shit, and the fact that he's still a figure today in the hobby, killing it. Like I don't like who in his era other than Mark. Bailey,
he's got it got it in his blood. He ain't. It's just.
I get like that, bro. Like Brock's a fucking animal. Like he's a beast, dude. And I'm drawn to shit like that. I love that shit.
Look, like you heard the term "built different." That is one guy that is built.
Dude, oh my god, Tinley Breck. And I want to be.
He's not the same as any other human I know, and I love him for that.
And Brock, I hope you hear this, but because of this experience, I hope I'm invited to the next Saturday morning Tinley breakfast, because that fucking BLT that he gets from that spot, bro. I got one on the way home. Like on the leaving, I had to stop by again.
I love that,
bro. I haven't had a BLT in I don't know how long. Not like a turkey club like that.
Like, dude. Brock wakes up, shoots out of bed, full energy, maximum energy, no lag time. Blows my fucking mind. Like, dude. No lag time. He shoots out of bed, and so I'm a big breakfast guy, and so he and I we travel together well. And I mean, dude, in the last decade, we've traveled together a lot, like a lot.
Yeah,
he was down here for like a week last April, and we were driving all around together for a week. Anyway, so he shoots out of bed, eyes are wide open. He is at like noon speed. I don't care if it's 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and so we'll go to breakfast. He always orders burger, BLT. And I really believe it's because he ain't got no time for breakfast food. He is already living in the middle of the day. Doesn't matter what time of day it is. Doesn't matter how long he's been awake.
I typically fast. Like I don't eat till like noon or 1. And so like I just remember being there, and I was looking at breakfast, and I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling breakfast. And I asked Brock, what do you get? He's like, I get he's like, already, like, this is what I get. This is my automatic. And I'm like, a BLT. I was like, fucking, it's 10 in the morning. I was like, it wasn't 8:40. It was like 8:40 in the morning or something.
Yeah. Because I had seen you in the lobby at like 7 and asked you. And
then I saw that he got a Coke too. And I'm like, dude, this is gangster. Like, the last time I saw anyone drink Coke at breakfast was my dad. So I was like, I'm going to fucking get a Diet Coke too. Fuck it. So it was like, my breakfast was I couldn't eat the fries though. Because I ate the entire BLT, dude. It was a big sandwich, bro. Like, big sandwich. But I did that, down it with a Coke. I had the best day ever. I felt
dude, if you would have seen him, if they had a Mr. Pibb, that puts him on a whole new level, son. Watch out. He's having a good day.
Who's a sweet lady who serves you guys? She was so awesome. What was her name? You guys know her by name.
It depends on which restaurant, which morning that was, because you went to two of them.
I don't know. Either way, it was fucking.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It might have been Shannon though, and she's wonderful.
It was Shannon. It was Shannon. It was Shannon. Yes.
Yeah.
She's sweet.
Yeah. No. They've gotten to know us pretty darn well at both of our breakfast spots. Again, back to relationships.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to going to restaurants, whether it's here at home or at shows that I frequent again and again, I love being able to build that relationship with the person behind the bar, that waitress, that whoever. It just, I don't know, it adds it for me personally. That's what I feed off of, is that camaraderie and interacting with other people.
Well, I mean, okay, we've been aware and we've known each other for a couple years now, at least. But you and I recently, I think it was at Bob's show, we had a little heart to heart. We talked upstairs on the roof, and that just even that one conversation brought us tighter together. You know what I mean? So
that's why I go to reptile shows. No shit. I mean, because there have been plenty of March Tinleys, especially back in the day, where I showed up with no snakes to sell. I'll be at Bob's show in August, or at least I'm damn sure trying to be. The weekend before Daytona, I won't have any snakes to sell. But I want to be there to support Bob. That means a lot to me. But also, I want to be there for the group. That's not all the same group that's going to be in Daytona. You're not going to have the same conversations. Even though it's just a week later, it's a different environment, different conversations, and a slightly different group of people. And that goes a long way in this industry. And it goes a long way for me to keep my engine fed and keep me engaged and keep me going. Some people can feel that just through social media. I'm pretty sure it's obvious to you. I'm not one of those guys. It is a chore for me, and I try hard to remember to check my messages, check my different apps every day. But give me a reptile show where I can show up on Thursday night or Friday morning, and it's just full immersion of socializing for 3 days straight. Sign me up. I'm in all day long for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. All right, listen up. I want to kind of talk about some of the biggest bread and butter, recessive, incomplete dominant projects you have going into 2026. I mean, I feel like this year's already set in stone. So I want to talk to you. I want to talk about what you have going into next year that you feel like this is it for you. As far as the standing force.
Well,
projects.
Honestly, because I'm in the middle of my breeding season, I will answer that more. And again, I have a weird year. But I'm actually going to answer that for 2025, because most of my hatchlings are going to come between August and, March of 2026 from what I'm working on right now, with the way that my season runs. So basically you're asking, what am I most excited about, incomplete dominant recessive wise, correct?
I want to know what the most important ones are to you. Obviously you got you're talking about puzzle sunset shit, but I want to know what's the meat and potato? What's the ones that the first ones you're thinking about?
So 100%, my mind is focused. I love Monsoon, and my mind is super focused. Hopefully on hitting a DG Monsoon. We should have 5 shots at it, and fingers crossed. We technically have shots at chocolate DG Monsoon, spot nose DG Monsoon, and dark night DG Monsoon. There's no way in hell we're gonna hit all that. That's not possible.
I mean, but even one of those is crazy. I'd still,
dude.
Yeah.
After seeing Justin's DG Monsoon, at least for me personally, it was the first time I saw a DG clown. As far as the color, the pattern, just everything's better, and I'm very excited about it. So Monsoon stuff. I've got shots at Super Gravel Monsoon, Ultra Mel Monsoon. Other than that, we also have shots at Ultramel Hypo Sunset. We should have 3 clutches for that.
Nice. Let me pause you real quick.
Yep.
Let's just say we're just chilling. Let's paint a picture. We're at Bob Foo's show at the hotel bar. Okay, we're just sitting down, and I tell you this, and I want you to tell me what's your first thoughts, and I want you to spew it out when I say this. I'm gonna be like, Winston, I just got into the Monsoon game. Congratulate me. Say thank you.
Yep. Oh, good job. Good for you. Right choice.
But Winston, I have a feeling. I think Monsoons are incomplete dominant. I don't think it's recessive.
I was looking for a way to put in a joke about that just to annoy Emilio, actually. So look, here's the bottom line. Scientific terms are not perfect. Okay. They're not perfect.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at a recessive, like a pied or a Monsoon, And yes, sometimes on the hets, like there's some influence there. But let me tell you, I see plenty of non-het siblings that
Yeah.
have some kind of other genetic influence from mom or dad that just to me look a little off. And they're not het monsoon or they're not het pied. It is not a reliable indicator, and thus it is a recessive. That's like, look, these are not perfect words, but these are the categories we have. So like with the monsoon stuff, I early on, because we bought ours really early on from Dave Green. I've been obsessed with that animal since he posted the first one in the egg in BLBC, and I was breeding, we bred our visual, but I was breeding some hets to other things as well to create possets and hold them back. And there were animals I would have guaranteed you were het monsoon that were absolutely not het monsoon. It's just the way it works, whereas a pastel, I can guarantee you that's a pastel. I can guarantee you that's a pinstripe. I can damn sure guarantee you that's a champagne. Those are incomplete dominance. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my opinion.
And I don't mind the whole like thought process of thinking what else it could maybe be, because one thing that always made me kind of scratch my head is like I remember getting into the gravel game, right, or like the highway game, and I was like obsessed about making highways and super gravels, but then buying gravels that like they look like fucking normals, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But mind you, their stomachs told the story. They had MARC, they had something to give you peace of mind, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's what you need. Like you need to be able to say, I guarantee you it's that because of that marking, or like because of what we see.
Even there, the only reason we were quick to accept gravel and asphalt as incomplete dominant is because we were already conditioned from the yellow belly. We had already trained our eyes for so many years for yellow bellies, and yellow bellies, they really are an incomplete dominant. You can see that until you start burying it in a deep combo. You can see that, but you start to trickle away from that by the time you get to an asphalt. Really, I think it's more like het pied. Half the time you're going to be right, half the time you're going to be wrong. But because we're already conditioned from yellow bellies, it's like we might as well call them incomplete dominance. And that goes back to the terms not always being perfect,
I clearly know, well, due to the headlock, I clearly know the love of Sunset for Brock. Where's the stand with you? Like how, if you were to list Sunset on top 5 morphs in your project, would you put it there?
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, I was super excited about it back in 2013. And I've stayed excited about it. It's one of those projects where not every single combo is going to be perfect, but I've seen combos that I thought weren't going to be so great that then, like, let's say, like I didn't expect Leopard Sunset to be great. I was a big fan. Spot Nose Sunset, already wonderful. Put it with Leopard, incredible. I think that there are probably some combos where in its base form, you're going to be like, but you add other things, then all of a sudden it's awesome. Like GHI Sunset, I really like them. They're not for everybody. I have a feeling like GHI Spot Nose Yellow Belly Clown Sunset, gonna kick ass. Not everybody's gonna want to go through those steps, but I do. I'm also a big fan of oranges and reds and that color template, and like when I started hatching hypo sunsets, that definitely was off to the races for me. The hypo cypress sunset that we hatched, it's just such a phenomenal orange that I can't not love sunset for that.
So gravel, asphalt, that's a huge part of my jam, what I do. I was really excited to see this snake. I saw it in person, I believe, at Bob's show.
Yes.
This is the Freeway Sunset. Obviously, there's like, if you're
I'm using phone. Yeah, it is.
So you obviously, we all know if you're in the sunset game, you're already on tune that brighter stuff is better for sunset. Like the brighter, the better, you would say, overall than darker?
So depends on how much you want to refine that. Like for me personally, even fire, I've tried to back that away because it's the wrong type of bright.
Right.
The Freeway Sunset and the Super Asphalt Sunset, I was absolutely thrilled with. So like the Freeway Sunset hatched out straight up like silver gray. And I was so devastated. And actually, of all people, Wagner was like, "Nah, calm down there, little guy. Let it shed a couple of times." And he was actually pretty optimistic right out the gate. And So by the time it shed just its first shed, I was like, whoa, that's really red. And it just kept getting more and more red. I don't know if you saw it at Tinley, but I would have definitely lost money if you would have bet me when it hatched that it ever would have been that red. And then I look at that and I go, that has to have Inchy, Orange Dream. I personally think from working with freeways for a really long time, I really think Inchy Leopard is going to be fantastic in that. But more than anything, hypo.
Yeah, and I remember, I don't know if you remember me bringing this up, but I was like looking at this snake, and I was happy with it, but I was like, I'm curious what the highway will look like. Like what's highway being a brighter version of the two, highway and freeway. Yep. I'm just curious what the.
I think it's more of what will it age like. As an adult, will, instead of like the freeway where it came out of the egg gray silver and then immediately started going red. As an adult, will it hit 800 grams and then start going gray, or like a dull brown gray? But the thing is, I want to see it. I want to know, because there is a significant chance, because highways are lighter in color, that it actually smokes the freeway, but we don't know until it's made, which is what I love about ball pythons. I'm going to wager on the freeway personally. You
made a super asphalt sunset, right? Am I tripping?
Hell yeah, I did.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Deep brick red out of the egg.
I remember seeing
I genuinely felt like that animal did not get the attention it deserved. Yeah. If I would have hatched that in 2016, people would have lost their fucking minds, Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know, respectfully, bro, like, fuck this shit is fucking sick. Okay. And for anyone out there calling me the biggest sunset hater, I just said this is fucking sick. You guys need to start giving me a little bit more fucking, like, a little bit of slack of I give sunset credit, dude. Okay.
Dude, yeah, and that's on Instagram, and whatever it is about Instagram's algorithm or upload filter or whatever, it makes things always just a little off, like, so it looks a lot more yellow in that picture than it is in real life. It's crazy orange.
I mean, I feel like hypo and sunset is quite the jam. You know what I mean? I'm a big cypress guy, and I'm
same.
Dude, this is cool. Like this is neat.
Yeah, right? So we are really trying hard. You asked about 2026. Yeah. So in 2025, it won't be possible, but 2026, we're trying really hard to get spot nose and yellow belly into that cypress hypo puzzle. Cypress hypo sunset.
Oh wow. So what other, if you could toss one other recessive in there, what would it be?
Clown.
Interesting.
Clown. Did you think I was going to say DG?
No, I knew you wouldn't say DG. DG and sunset aren't the hottest topic right now.
You know what? But I really don't care because I think I'm actually very, very excited. We're going to be producing a good amount of DG sunset stuff.
Yeah,
with yellow belly and spot nose in the mix. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with sunset. All it takes is one other gene to rock it whole to another level, and I will give it that. Like it's like once you kind of get the wheels moving, it's all about plugging the right shit in there, and good.
Listen, I'm sure it'll come off like, oh yeah, that guy's been in sunset forever, and so he's just trying to sell it. I'm not gonna lie, I have adult female sunsets. I wish I could just teleport you to my building to see, because I'm like, guys like you wouldn't believe they look like this after they've laid twice, laid 2 clutches of eggs. 100%, just straight sunsets. But like, but for me also, I look at the sunset clown and the richer, deeper tones that gets, and I look at the DG sunset. And I know Justin already made a DG sunset clown, but he hasn't made a ton of them. It was just the one, and I haven't really seen it as it ages. But I have a weird feeling that it's probably pretty damn quality. And between myself and Brad Boa Reptiles, I'm really hoping we're going to see a few DG sunset clowns this year.
Well, for me personally, my future, no DG will continue without hypo. If I'm making DG, hypo is going to be in it somehow, because they complement each other that much.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it almost goes without saying now, like, yeah, DG hypo puzzle. Yeah, I want to see it. Actually, DG Ultra puzzle, I also want to see. I like some of those more unique looks. So you asked me about genes I was excited about this year. Also, looking at some Xanthic double het Ultramel puzzles, and some Xanthic and DG Xanthic het puzzles. That I've got females in the high 20s right now, high 20 millimeters. So Really looking forward to that.
I can't wait to see some more true ghost shit. I know we're like there. We're almost there. We're going to be seeing some crazy fucking hypoexantic stuff for sure.
I feel like I've loved hypo forever. I've loved it long enough to base my entire collection on it. Originally, way back in the day, then trickle it off to a little bit of my collection, and then surge it back into a lot of my collection now. But I am late to the Xanthic game. But
I have it. I need it.
I love it. I mean, I love it. I've got it worked into many things. Like I said, working on DG Xanthics, het puzzles, and if I get really lucky, maybe some Xanthic puzzles, Posset DG. But when you've looked at the multiverse of color in ball pythons for 20 years, and you see that, the first Stormtrooper John Dag made blew my socks off, but it didn't feel that attainable. And then Justin hitting the DG Xanthic clown and starting to see that black and white. I mean, dude, I am a victim of I want to see a lot of shit in black and white now. Like Zebra, when I first looked at Zebras, I'm like, yeah, I need that in black and white. I need that black and white with maybe like yellow belly for sure to sharpen it up. But yeah.
See that Jag stuff yet?
Dude, when I was at Bob's show in February, that was seeing the Jag in person, no clown, just a Jag. The pictures I saw online just didn't do it justice. I was actually really shocked at how low key under the radar that codom is. It is a significantly great mutation. No recessives added. I mean, if that mutation was around in 2008 or 2010, that would have been a $10,000 snake. I mean,
yeah,
pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
I really think that's being slept on.
Yeah. I mean, not for long. I'll tell you that much. I mean, based off, Emilio did a vlog for me since I couldn't make it to Justin's, and he sent me that fucking clip of the Jaguar stuff.
Oh yeah.
I was like, God damn, that's sick as fuck. You know what I mean?
Dude, for one, loved that vlog. Loved it. It was fast moving, straight to the point, not a lot of filler, and great quality content. But the things that stood out to me in there, other than the monsoon stuff, I really am I was a sucker for granite Burmese pythons, 20 years ago. So when I had a chance to own a fucking monsoon ball python, I was like, have to have it. So I'm a big fan. So I love that stuff. But you mentioned True Ghost, and that's been around since I got in this. True Ghost corn snakes were a big deal. It's just never been a big deal to me. He showed that True Ghost pied, and I was like, that's the coolest pied I've seen in a freaking minute.
Yeah.
Like that kind of got me. It got me looking at the True Ghost stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I've heard Stephen Cush, he's the first person to show me a True Ghost snake. And I was like, what kind of hypo is that? It looked like fucking like a hypo you get at Louis Vuitton or something. Like it just looked like a whole nother level of quality. And yeah. And that was 2018, I think. And then you didn't hear shit about it.
They've been around forever, and they just got forgotten about. I mean, kind of like Ultramel Xanthic. I think it's like this really cool strawberry cream look without being too washed out, and still having bold pattern. So like I'm working really hard at, Ultramel Xanthic puzzles, and before we get off the topic of Xanthic, so I'm sure this isn't great for trying to rep a project, but so tell me your thoughts on Xanthic Sunset.
Oh God. Dude.
So you, dude, I'm going for it all the way, dude.
Go for it. I can't wait. Fucking bring it on, dude. I can't wait to show more examples.
But here's the thing. I think that people get so myopic in their vision that they go, oh, there's 80 of these awesome combos, but look at these 4 shit ones. Project's garbage.
I guarantee if you were to make that fucking Cypress Hypo Sunset Xanthic, that will look sick as fuck.
Throw DG on there.
And
at
sure,
that point.
Yeah. I feel like if you could keep that pattern, just black and white that's gonna be sick as fuck. I won't lie. But you're gonna go through some shit snakes in between then. You know what I mean? And it is what it is.
So, and you said something a while back that you said like 2 browns don't make a right, or I think it was.
Somebody else said that in the chat. It said 2 browns don't make a right or something.
Dude, no, it was really, really funny. But when you're going for Xanthic combos, right? Like,
yeah,
if you make a Sunset Xanthic and you're like, wow, this is really just gray and brown. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You're trying to what so what you're trying to do with Xanthics basically is turning on and off these different xanthophores, right? Like basically like what makes the yellows or slightly off oranges and shit like that. So we don't have any base. We know what like pastel does with Xanthic, right? Adds more xanthophores, turn them off. You know, you get a little more white. Sometimes they yellow up, sometimes they don't. Usually with DG they don't.
Right.
But like with a sunset, we have no idea what that's going to look like. So it's worth making and then throwing it into DG just to see how it goes. You know, we've been laying down some hets for a while for Xanthic Sunset Clown, and now we're working on, you know, DG Xanthic Sunset Clown and going for some of the quads.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all exciting stuff. I mean, I feel like Sunset isn't something that you got to take out back and fucking take a shotgun to it. Like, there's no way. Like, it's gonna be around. It's just an uphill battle. But once you get to the top of that, it's fucking worth it, just like anything else. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
but also, it's like I feel like whoever is producing some sick ass Sunset, I'm gonna give them a great big pat on the back because you fucking put some work into to get that snake. You know what I mean? It's not a fucking it's not a rollout project is what I'm saying. Like, it's not that easy. You know what I mean?
Well, and when you hit all right, I'm gonna disagree with that a little bit just because of the amount of sunsets. Just talking base morph, the amount of sunsets we still sell every year because there's so many people that don't have them and want that color palette to work with. They're sell incredibly well for us anyway. But what shit, I had somewhere I was going that and I lost it. Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, but I get what you're saying. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a canvas people want to start with. Like, they want to start with that base.
Yeah,
because they see all the potential in it. Like, I get that.
Oh, you know what? You said, you know, hats off, mad props to anybody that takes a project and, you know, lines it up and makes some stunning combo, you know, end result. But I also say big props to people who swing and take big risks and have a result that isn't exactly what they want. And here's the real key.
We're not giving no participation trophies here, buddy.
No. But if they know it's a big gamble, here's what makes the difference.
Yeah.
If they do it and then they show the results anyway, even if they're disappointed because they believe enough in their project and they don't care enough about the like blah 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 haters on the sides, to still show their work. And the reason why that matters is that there are certain people, other people with different vision that might look at that and go, hold up, if I flip that into hypo, I feel like there's a good chance nobody's going to see the awesomeness coming. And then those people get to learn that information and grow that project and possibly make something incredible down the line.
I think whoever makes the ugliest sunset of 2025 needs to send it to me, and I'm going to give you the Winston ribbon reward. I'm going to give you like this only means something big is on the way. So here you go.
Listen, there's some things that are just dead ends, right? Like, you know, silver streaks and shit like that. But I'm just saying, have the balls to swing for something different so that we get to see different shit as we keep going down. Because like down the road, because the thing is, I think everybody gets like kind of a short-sighted in the sense that they just think, oh, how many more morphs are there going to be? Or how long can we keep doing this? Or the industry is going to get so flooded. And people don't understand the people that stay hooked in it. It's because they love the game. Like, we want to just keep seeing what happens. We want to keep interacting with other breeders. We want to keep seeing the game get elevated, even if it means that it's been 50 years and we just now came out with something new that popped up in a collection with Europe, paired with something over here in America that just made something we never could have dreamed of. It's what keeps us all going.
I mean, this speaking about just ball pythons, this game was built based on people swinging for the fences, dude. Ralph Davis, right? Like, we don't hear enough about Ralph Davis, but like everything that fucking guy did, like, you know, I look at, man, I kind of go on this like Ralph Davis fucking tunnel sometimes on all his old videos. And I just kind of like mentally put myself in 2008, 2007. When he was putting this stuff out and being that guy, like the man, like nobody.
First reptile YouTube I ever watched, Ralph Davis.
You know what I mean? And it's so like, you know, I heard he has his own hobbies and does his own thing now, but god damn, like to be that guy in that era, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Crazy to me. Like, and it gives me chills. Like, it inspires me. Like, it's fucking awesome. You know,
I would do I 100% agree. And you said like this industry was built by people that just swung for the fences. And I would say it was built by people that swung for the fences, and it's been sustained over time by people that weren't afraid to take chances and see something new on the horizon. You know, you watched a lot of these older guys, they did it for 10, 15 years, and they were so stuck in the idea of like, well, these snakes that used to be worth this money aren't worth it anymore. I don't care what all those other guys are doing or who's making money, because these aren't worth money anymore. This whole thing's crashing. It's not worth it. Then you have guys like Ralph Davis who are like, okay, but I'm going to put my snakes on the internet on YouTube and I'm just going to make videos about my collection.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like his sales are surging because it turns out there's a lot of other people that want to consume ball python content, want to learn, want to dream. And then you escalate that up to like a Justin who's like, you know, oh, well, I could also build a social media platform basically for ball pythons, like, you know, and elevate the YouTube game, yourself elevating the YouTube game, you know.
You want to know where people fucked up? And I'm talking about specific people who are like the type of people you're talking about that are looking at certain projects that are just not what they thought they were.
Yeah.
Those fucking people thought they could sell snakes like Justin. Those people thought their client base, their prices, everything was going to be like Justin's, Brock's, like the kind of guys who don't have to bat an eye.
Well, it's like they forgot why they bought those snakes in the first place. They bought them because they were new and cutting edge. And now they want to cry and pout because they didn't save their money or they weren't bold enough to reinvest or dare to dream bigger and different. And they're going, well, I've got a 6-gene clown pied and it's only worth this. They're not even trying to figure out how to make a tornado sunset or a DG xanthic zebra or a fucking, you know, I don't know any other number of freaking things.
You
know,
you got people who are producing visual monsoons who got out of the game. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't understand. What the
well,
fuck?
it depends. And again, everybody's different. Some people have a little bit of life situation. Like Ralph Davis had a little bit of life situation in his generation, and there are a few of those guys. But I do think there really are guys that are like they had their exciting decade, and they lost that spark. It's no longer like exciting for them to dream about that next thing. They get discouraged because they don't have the 30 grand to buy it or the 50 grand to buy these 7 animals.
Or they let their ego get in the way.
You know what? That's also probably a good point. Like I was making 5 grand for these whatevers 2 years ago, and now they're $600. Screw all you, I'm leaving.
Yeah, they're like ashamed. They're almost ashamed to have to show what they're selling snakes for now.
Yeah, and there's no room for that, man. Like, dude, I've definitely been through the pitches and rolls.
We make so much money off a fucking snake. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I don't get it. Like, and I'm glad I came into this later in my life to realize, like, holy shit, look at the money. You know what I'm saying? But to get to the point where you're like, I can't sell this fucking snake for $5,000. I have to sell it for $2,300. Fuck this shit. You kidding me, dude? Like, I don't understand how that would give. But mind you, everyone's situation is different. Maybe that person makes good money elsewhere. They don't give a fuck.
A lot of times that is the case. They've got other money elsewhere, or something comes into their life where they might have the option of just coasting for a while because they got some money or their wife got an amazing job, and they see the temptation of like, oh, I could just take some time off. And it's like, I guess I can understand that. I mean, I daydream about that shit all the time when I'm on day 3 of grinding through pairings and locks and collecting clutches, and then the next day's feeding day, and I've got 20 clutches hatching, and da 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 da. However, when push comes to shove, and somebody's like, "Yeah, so why don't you quit doing this?" It's like, well, I mean, I don't want to quit doing this. If I won the lottery, I would just basically have a zookeeper and the most insane state-of-the-art facility in the world, just because I want to. I love animal propagation. I love conservation. I love animal care. I mean, it's just those of us that just like it. We just like it, and I feel like. Okay, how many all right, I'm not a sports guy, so this isn't a perfect metaphor, but how many people you know that are diehard NFL or NBA fans are like, oh man, I've been watching this sport for 10 years. You know, I just, it's I need a break. It's time for me to check out. No, they want to, no matter what changes in their life, they want to stick around to watch what happens, how the players evolve, who are the new rookies coming on. You know what I mean? I think the people who are dyed in the wool in reptiles and ball pythons specifically, we want to see, you know, where this is going. We don't want to be left out of the loop, you know?
Yeah. At the end of the day, if you want to be relevant and you want to have good sales, you can't be halfway, half in this, dude. Like, it doesn't work. Like, this can't be a fucking, I'll put on the shelf hobby. Like, it's one of my many hobbies, but it's not the most important one. I don't understand how living animals can't be the most important thing you're doing. I don't get it.
If you're doing it in a big way, absolutely. Look, if you've got a Pac-Man frog and a cool gecko and a Chinese cave snake or something, and those are one of your little side hobbies.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So you got 3 animals. It's not that much upkeep.
But on MorphMarket with the selling account,
Yes.
all that shit.
If you are breeding and doing this, you have to be all in. And if you are all in, all these other people become your peer group. And that's what, when times are hard or you have a bad season, or maybe you go through a natural disaster and have a catastrophe, that peer group is what keeps you going. And it's also like, why do you even give a shit about making a new combo? Yes, you want to see it, but how much more does it mean to you when your peers that you respect go, MJ, you did it. Like, you blew my socks off with that combo. How'd you even think of that? Or how long did it take you to make that? You know, it's what makes it enriching.
I know one thing. I've been seeing some of the people leaving, and they're probably more heartbroken about taking down their wall of stickers that they've gotten over the years.
Yeah.
Over the actual snakes. Because I feel like a lot of people who come in here want to paint that picture that they're in a legit business. It's about them. They want eyes on them. It's me. Look at what I'm doing, without actually showing what your work is. Like, you know what I mean? If you're in the reptile game and you want to be a breeder and you want a respectable name, show the work. Just show what you're doing. You don't have to be so vocal and so fucking, let me trade my shirt with you and like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
and it's like, you know, there's layers to everything. There's a place for that, but if you are trying to be a serious animal breeder, that can't be your top priority.
And listen, and I love the community and the excitement of people wanting to be in it, but like, sticker swapping just isn't my thing. You know what I mean? Like
it's not mine either, but I love it. Yeah, I love anything.
I'll give you a sticker. Don't give me any. I don't want to swap shit. If you want a sticker, here you go. And show me what you're breeding next time you talk to me. That's all. That's all we got.
Yeah. You are seriously into the breeding, the husbandry and keeping and breeding side. That's pretty much where I am as well. But I have loved to watch us evolve over the last 5 or 6 years into this. I mean, I think it got a little blown up there during COVID, but what it showed me was, there's a lot of surface level people coming in, people who are going to these shows, not just because they want to be a breeder, but they're going to these shows just because they're into it. Like, I see people at Tinley year over year. They really never have more than 10 animals at a time, but they are so into reptiles and into this community. The same way that I might go to a festival or something like that. They're showing up for the community. And for a guy like me, I honestly need a little bit of that mixed in with my herpetoculture. You know what I mean? Like, I look forward to my dinners with Denny Mack, and fucking Chad Holker, and by God, Dave Levison, for fuck's sake, like, I don't get to see these guys that often. And I genuinely look very forward to these conversations, and I talk to Brock every day, but I get excited to see that big freaking motherfucker in person. I do. I get excited every time.
Yeah. Can't wait for the next one. Really can't.
So, yeah, seriously.
Well, listen, dude, great fucking episode. Okay. I got to say, it was an honor to have you on. I want to bring you back on. Don't make me wait 3 years again. Okay.
Okay. Help me get a better setup. Cause I'm not going to lie. Staring into this ring light is like blinding me. You got to help me because I got to do better.
I told you after tonight, I got you. I'm going to send you links. I'm going to take care of you. Okay. You're good. Okay.
Awesome.
But listen, before we let you go, I got hot seat questions for you. Okay.
Oh man. Come on now.
So guys, do me a favor. Shout out to everyone in the chats. Let's get the likes up for Winston. We got the hot seat questions. You know how these go. The quicker, the better. Rapid fire. You ready, buddy?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Frozen Thunder live.
Oh, live.
A cut or no cut?
No cut if I can help it, but yeah, we all get excited.
I'm gonna ask you again. It's a yes or no. Okay. A cut or no cut, Winston?
Oh, God, fuck it. Yeah. Because when I see that first one pip, I'm cutting the other ones, man.
Okay. What day would you cut? What day?
Oh no, I have solidly gotten into the camp of first one pips.
Got it. Okay. Chondros or emerald tree boas? You got to pick.
From just sheer coolness, emerald tree boas.
Okay.
I would say.
First thing you would feed a baby ball python. I mean, kind of.
You cut out. First thing I would feed what?
First thing you would feed a baby ball python.
Oh, mouse fuzzy.
Yay imports or boo imports?
Oh, I'm gonna say yay imports because I am against cutting off all of everything, but that's a real fucked up thing to ask me, MJ.
Sorry. To spray or miss the ball python, or to never spray and miss the ball python?
Oh, you should definitely spray. There's always a purpose for that, Spray, miss them, dump the water bowl on them.
Steak or fish?
Oh, steak.
Yay alcohol or boo alcohol?
Come on, son.
Okay. Favorite alcohol beverage, like your go-to?
Beer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a liquor guy. I'm really not.
Favorite genre of music?
I really love all kinds of music, actually, in a big way. Lately, I mean, I've been really into EDM, but I have a pretty eclectic palette. I know you do as well, which is probably why we get along. But everything from Florence and the Machine to Subtronics. I mean, but
Okay.
right now I've been pretty heavily in that EDM lane.
All right. West Coast rap or East Coast rap? If you had to pick.
West Coast.
All right, cool.
I'm mostly just saying that because you're who I'm on the phone with.
Okay, nice.
I really don't know.
Little word association. You got to say the first thing to come to mind. You ready?
Yep.
Milk.
What? Shed. Snake and shed.
What?
Milky eyes.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. It's cool. That was great. Substrate.
Oddly enough, COCO, even though I use Aspen, but the first word that comes in my head from all the goddamn branding out there, COCO.
MorphMarket shipping.
Always a positive evolution.
Favorite incomplete dominant.
Right now, Cosmos.
Least favorite incomplete dominant.
Cinnamon.
Number one go-to double recessive project.
Right now, Hypo Puzzle, actually.
Instagram trolls.
What is it?
Instagram trolls.
Luckily, I don't have to worry about them much because I struggle to stay on there.
All right, you're almost there. Last but not least, you ready? First thing to come to mind, you can't cheat. You can't feel sorry for nobody. You just got to say it. You ready?
Yeah.
Coolest reptile network in the world.
Reptile Radio. I'm just kidding. Trap Talk.
What? What? They have to be
Trap Talk,
around,
son.
Just kidding. Hey, Winston,
No, obviously.
this was an honor, dude. Okay, and like I said, I don't want to wait that much longer. I'll give you time, but after we set you up and you get the mic and everything, we're getting you back on here. Okay.
No, I would really like to, because that first half was kind of a struggle for me to adjust, especially this late at night. But yeah, I want to be back on more often.
Right. Great, man. I appreciate you so much. Where's the best place for people to follow you? We say Instagram or?
Yeah, I would say Instagram. Follow Brock. We didn't really get a lot of chance to talk about it, but I would say definitely follow Brock Wagner's Instagram and MorphMarket. A lot of animals I produce end up there, and my Instagram WHS Reptiles. Yeah, you find me at any show.
There's a reason why we didn't go too deep on Brock, because I want Brock on this show next time with you. That would be great.
Oh, I hope you really enjoy getting two overpowering voices just tromping on you.
Actually, we need to do that in person. That would be fucking sick. We need to do that in person.
I am a massive fan of in-person podcasts. A massive fan. I really like that, unless it's in the lobby at Tinley when I just hit a whirlwind and you shove me in front of the goddamn camera.
Dude, you're the man, Winston. Guys, do me a favor. Go find all the links to Winston's social media platforms in the description below. But give it up. It's a wrap for WHS Reptile.
Thanks, MJ. One of these days, you'll help me grow my social media. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here for you, man. But thank you so much. Have a good night, Winston.
Later, man.
Peace. Shout out to anyone who tapped in. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Before you guys leave, hit that like button for the homie Winston's. This was a great episode. I told all my Patreon members, all my trappers, that this was going to be a very informational podcast, man. We're revolving around ball pythons and whatnot, and other really cool stuff about the reptile hobby. So great times, man. And of course, if you're looking for exclusive content, don't wait any further and come join the Trap Talk Patreon family. A lot of great things happening, new merch dropping for all my Patreon members. So find that link in the description below, very first link, and appreciate all the love and support. Before you guys dip out, check out the sponsors. All the links to my sponsors in the description below as well. So thank you so much. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Longevity is one of the biggest things I strive for when it comes to thinking about being a part of the reptile industry. That's why I'm very proud about today's sponsor, Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. 40 plus years, full-time reptile keeper, enthusiast. This guy, you can catch all his amazing ball python projects on MorphMarket. So make sure you head over to MorphMarket, and that's Mark Bailey Reptiles on MorphMarket. See what he has available currently. And I gotta tell you one thing, he's one of the biggest and most respected ball python breeders we have today in the ball python game. So shout out to Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. Thank you for all the support. And again, make sure you head over to his account on MorphMarket, see what he has available. Thank you so much, Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. If you want to be organized, if you want to be cutting edge in the ball python game, then you don't want to miss this. Shout out to today's sponsor, and that's Clutch, #1 ball python organization app in the game. No better place to start off than by using this app. Clutch is an organization app that helps you organize all your ball python projects. It also helps your peers and your fellow community members look at what you possibly have coming for the upcoming ball python season, what you have currently available on MorphMarket. It's so awesome to be ahead of the game by using organization app like Clutch. Thank you so much, the entire Clutch team, amazing team over at Clutch. If I were you, I would head over to Clutch's Instagram account, and I would also head over to their website, try it out, see how it works for you. But especially if you're just now coming into this, before you build your reptile collection, I would do it organized, and I would do it with Clutch. Thank you, Clutch, for being so amazing. Excited to hear what Clutch has to bring in the near future. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Green tree pythons, emerald tree boas, and plenty other arboreal snakes have been quite the popularity here at the Trap Talk Reptile Network, which brings me to today's sponsor, the Reptile Perch. Head over to the reptileperch.com and Reptile Perch on Instagram. See what type of design PVC perch is best for your arboreal reptile. But first and foremost, I would also check out David Brom's Green Tree Python availability on the website. And you can also check out his Instagram just to stay current on any projects or any productions that he posts. Thank you so much, David Broms, for your ongoing support. Looking forward to seeing what you have to show in the 2025 season. When you think about building a good community and being a leader of that community, nobody comes to mind better than Mark Hager over at Texas Chondros. That's right. Make sure you head over to TX Chondros on Instagram, and also head over to Mark's website, see what he has available green tree python wise, and be ready for quite the 2025 green tree python breeding season out of Mark Hager. He's a veteran in the green tree python game, one of the best and nicest breeders in the green tree python game. He's been putting on the whole state of Texas for as long as I've known him. So if you want to see all the amazing other chondro keepers out of the state of Texas, another good reason to go follow Mark Hager over at TX Chondros on Instagram. And again, head over to his website, texaschondros.com. You can find all the links in the description below. Thank you so much, Mark Hager, for supporting the Trap. Treat.